Greetings, blessings, salutations. Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. Wow, stumbling on my words. Here to share and offer some love today. Um, Part of the Talcottian adventure, so to say. Thank you to those who have already joined, who may join, and for those who are present and have the willingness or ability, the link to join has been pinned to the top of the chat. It's Saturday, right? Weekend. I considered doing a different time on the weekend. I wasn't real sure where my day would unfold, but golly geez, what a beautiful day today is. At least where I am, and from my perspective, my inner state of the world. Holy cows, the sun is shining. It's later summer, so the hot heat is kind of dwindling off, and we're getting those cool nights again. Man, praise God. It feels so good to be alive. I mean, think about the alternative just for a moment. To be not alive. Or to be suffering. And I'm neither of those. I am alive and I feel good. Today, the topic, present freedom. And the thumbnail was along those lines. Free your mind from the past for your own better future. Free your mind from the past for your own better future. Seriously, swear to God, those words. You find yourself spending time dwelling about the past, just holding on to it, or you find it's bringing these bad feelings, fucking let it go. Replace those thoughts with, this is what I want in my future. This is where I want my experience to go. Because the presence of God, anything that you or I might be able to know is now. Our knowing is found now. You never know what you can do or what you might say until you're tested, until you're questioned and challenged, and then you start to know. But it's only at that time of the now that we know. And using the words and the word play, our opportunity to know God's presence is in the present. It's like right now. Because God is eternal. We're just temporary. But these lives, man, I remember how I used to live. And I wasn't paying attention to right now. Not honestly. I was like living in habits. I was a creature of habit, formed from this culture. The culture, the bacteria and culture of the American dream taught me to live a life of habits and making excuses for my joy, for the appearance of comfort and freedom. Oh my God. God is so funny. God is so amazing. God is so true. Because the gift of life is in itself the expression of life. I was inspired earlier, again, some observations that why are games fun? Games are fun because we get to play them. Why is work dull? Work is dull because we have to do the job. So you can look at life as though you have to. It's just a series of have tos. I have to do this and have to do that. And I was thinking about that earlier today at Costco, how my life used to be so controlled by schedules, man. Schedules that I either agreed to or imagined. Because I saw a couple, hurrying through their tasks. And I don't know what their adventure was, but I remember how I used to live with a lot of hurry, got to get it done. All these expectations, all this judgment, all these worries, man. And then my life started to change. Well, I chose to change because I chose the way I was living was not good enough for me anymore. And I chose to try and become better, greater than I used to be. Started setting my goals a little bigger and beyond just me. So as I started doing that, I started feeling better about myself because I was making better choices for myself, healthier choices, um, choices more grounded in facts and logic rather than feelings. Living that way. mm. Oh, I am going. I was asked to get into that a little more. Um, it hasn't come up yet. We got a guest as well. Welcome, Roman.
Hello, can you hear me?
You're soft and there's a little bit of an echo.
Okay, wait. Wait. I have ear drops. Can you hear me now?
I turn.
Um,
Try again. I've got you as loud as it can go.
can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, I do.
Yes.
Welcome.
What? Hello, Jack. I just want to say I watch you every day and I just love you, brother. Your energy, your message. It's amazing.
I truly appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank
Um,
you.
can I can I ask where you're watching out of? Where are you from?
I'm from Austria in Europe.
How amazing, brother! Thank you.
Yeah.
Um, I visited Austria briefly when I was a
Really?
young man in the military. Beautiful
Okay.
country, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How are things on that side of the waters?
Um. mm, yeah, it's good here. Um. Uh. I don't know much to say about Austria. I mean, I lived my whole life here. It's pretty amazing in compares to other countries. But I don't want to go there. But um. Yeah, it's good here. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear. Hey, Roman, it is an absolute pleasure to meet you, and
Thank you for.
I'm going to get back to this question though,
Okay.
if you don't mind, unless
No.
you had something you wanted to address.
Um, yeah, I want just one thing I want to say. You talk about meditation a lot, and I don't want to give it away just with one sentence, but our bodies tell us a story, I think, yeah, I think, I don't want to go into detail in the detail. Just I know when you want to know the detail, I can tell, but when not every time, God. I mean, when God talks through our bodies, um, when we are on the right path or when we are on the wrong path, but not every time, because when it's every time, our bodies will give noises every time, I don't know if you understand it. Oh, yeah, I understand it. But in when our bodies make noises, then we know, okay, we are on the wrong, not path, but attitude or wrong thinking. And yeah.
Amen. I think I got what you were saying. If you mean like when the body makes noises, like it's it wants some
Okay.
attention. It's uneasy. It's discontent, painful. Maybe is that
Yeah.
what you mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing. When we burp, burping, it's not a good sign. Um, you understand? Yeah, yeah, I think you understand that. And when we do the sound, I don't know it in English. When we you know that sound, that's a good sign. Yeah. It's do you know The Simpsons? The intro when um really I I don't know why I got this information. I don't got it from anywhere. When Bart Simpson, Bart Simpson is the not the evil character at all, but it's it's a kind of an evil character. And in the intro, when Bart Simpson jumps over, what is the name? I forgot the name.
Barney.
Barney. Barney, yeah. And Barney barbs. I think I don't want to say Freemasons, but I think they want to tell us a story, but you don't get it, but and the burping is the evil sign, and God tells us with this recognition that we are not on the right, that it's not okay, God is love, and God tells us just, hey, you know, yeah,
That's interesting. I've never heard that observation about the burps, but I know
yeah,
there's our bodies speak to us in
yeah,
mysterious ways and
yeah.
a lot more than we think. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no, no.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah,
I've been learning this life I've been living has been, man, I hope you can all find the amazement in your own life.
yeah,
Because I spent most of my life thinking it was pretty ordinary, pretty unspectacular. But then I started learning how little I knew. And it was like, oh, here, that kind of brings me back to one of the topics with present being the gift.
yeah,
If we look at life, oh, and what I was saying earlier about games are fun because we get to play, and work is dull because it's something we have to do. If you look at life as a game we get to play, I mean, many of us have played the video games, a little RPG role
yeah,
playing game characters where you can develop the different attributes and different skills of the character. That's based on life itself.
yeah,
Because that's what we are. We are these perhaps eternal spirits and energy, forms of energy
mhm,
taking form in in the physical bodily
yeah,
experience of life together, and we're all characters in each other's lives.
yeah,
So if the goal is really to level yourself up so you can be a greater value for the stages around you, life becomes more of an adventure. And to tie it, maybe to tie it back to what you were saying, Roman, about there's there's a program to this experience, and it's divinely created. There's rules to this game, and there is a guidance system within
yeah.
us.
Um, but it's also hidden that we, you know, love is it's when I think of God, it's obvious that love is hidden, you know, because when you, I mean that's obscure example, but when you look at the sky and you see a huge being or a small being, it's, you know, how do I say it? You know, I understand everything in English, but I'm very,
You're
because
doing
I
great.
don't speak, yeah. But I think you know what I mean. When you look at the sky and there is a dictator looking at us, yeah, that's not love, you know. Love is hidden and show us in the details. Yeah,
Now I'm totally getting what you're saying. I love
yeah,
that. Yes, it is kind of a mystery, isn't it? Love,
yeah,
that force, that power.
yeah,
Um, and love is, it's shown. Love is revealed. Um, it's beyond words.
yeah,
And this is where the human mind, our human ego, all of these imagined separations that the societies have built, first with royalty and then the basically the caste system,
yeah,
separating people over imagined nonsense. The thought I had today is that it is truly, well, I shared this on someone's post. It is truly pride and distrust. Pride, those two are opposites. Pride, typically arrogant and strong, confident, but uh, the
but in
distrust
what?
is typically from the weak.
Yeah,
Pride and distrust have kept humanity separated. Pride and distrust are the paths Satan uses, right?
yeah,
When we're prideful, we'll allow unhealthy temptation, or we'll lust over things that are unhealthy.
mm,
And when we're insecure, we make excuses. And brothers and sisters, I think humanity has made excuses long enough about why we're still at wars with each other. There's no excuse, man. Today, right now, today, this moment, the present, that breath, it's the gift. It's the
yeah,
gift of life, which is love. God shows love to us through expressing life in itself, and that is us. We are here not to conquer each other or collect all these treasures and trophies. We're here to love one another, to serve life and love in itself. At least that's what I've come to believe. And you know what?
that's,
It feels good to love, man,
yeah,
without conditions, just with absolute gratitude for the day. I have hopes for our future, great hopes for my own. Matter of fact, so far, unbelievable goals. But what do you think about the future?
Um, I don't know, man. But in this circle, I know every channel in this circle, and I think I don't want to put you on the spot, but you are really the leader of the, when who else, in this circle, just in the circle, okay? But who else? Yeah.
Hey,
I think.
respect,
uh,
brother. I believe we are all here. We've all become confused as children of God. We
yeah.
all lost our way, and our parents and their parents, everyone's done their best. But
In
what is
confusion.
what's that?
In confusion, when we don't allow God in our life, but it's obvious God is the heart of God is seen everywhere, in every living being, everywhere. You just I, I cannot understand why. I can understand because we are easy manipulated. Just one guy on the TV says, evolution, evolution. Just one guy 300 years ago says, yeah, we came from monkeys because monkeys are similar to us. Yeah, everything is similar to us. Yeah, but and I think everyone knows that there is a God, but not everyone want to live in this reality that there is a God because they don't understand. And I mean, there is not much. How does it? You have Jesus Christ, you have Allah, you have the Hindu gods, and what else? Today. And what God do you really want to have? Jesus Christ, huh? is the best God.
Brother, that's well to tie those two together, because I think I understand when you started out saying, to see God everywhere,
Yeah,
yes, and that is the way of the Christ. The the way that Jesus taught and showed is to see God, right? To know God. God is God is all that is. We are expressions and perceptions of love who have become confused by some greater purpose. And this is what I realized for myself. I started finding out how confused I used to be, admitting what I didn't know.
yeah.
And holy cows, man, my past arrogance literally drove me nuts. Welcome, Jesse. Hey, to tie this though too is consider this. Consider that we are divinely created children of God who have become confused. We're here in the physical realm as spiritual beings, which is our true nature. And Jesus showed the expression of the true nature of people, who we are. We all love to serve each other. And I think if we could heal each other, we knew we could heal each other, we'd be healing each other, not hurting each other. But just because we may not have the ability to, or the connection, knowledge to immediately bring healing, doesn't mean we got to keep kicking each other or, I don't know.
I like what Roman said. And hi, Roman. Where are you from?
Hey, Jesse. I'm from Austria.
Bosnia?
Austria.
Austria, near
Austria. Okay.
Germany. Yeah.
When he was saying that everybody, most people believe in God, but most
Yeah.
people don't want to be accountable to it and hold themselves account, or others through that Christed energy. They rather be that opposer. They rather try to make conflict opposed to resolution, or cause conflict to try to get resolution. And that's as well as being away from the Christed energy that we're all supposed to embody.
Yeah.
Amen. Hey, I know you've talked to a lot of people. I may have asked before, Charles Eisenstein. Eisenstein. Have you heard of him or met him yet?
Hang on,
He's
I gotta turn this volume up. I'm having a hard time hearing. Try that. Oops.
can you hear me better
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
Okay. The name Charles Eisenstein. Eisenstein. Does that
Sounds
name ring a
familiar.
bell? I've discovered him a while ago, and I love what he shares. He started something called the Sanity Project. I signed up to be a part of that community, and I'm exploring what that's about. It looks pretty cool. He offers definition of sanity, and I thought it's beautiful. The knowledge that one is speaking to sacred beings, to know that you're speaking to sacred beings is a sign of sanity.
I love that.
I do too. That's what it's about.
Depending on people's kind of situation, circumstance, education, whatever it is that connection is. Some people have different experiences. Some people have experiences with angels or with aliens, but it's the supernatural, and different people call it different things. But is it the same thing? Is it the universe just communicating with us on our terms, on what we will recognize and maybe listen to? So for different people, they're having the same experience with the same energy, just it's manifested in different ways on how they will most likely be able to listen and perceive it. And then some people freak the fuck out about it, and those are demons, and those are bad aliens, depending on what part in their journey they are, if they're still living in fear.
Jesse, can I say something to that?
Of course.
I've had a dream on my day when I have birthday, my 33rd birthday. I had the first dream ever of Jesus. Jesus had said something to me in my dream. He was in my dream and said, I don't know, happy birthday. And interesting is that it was I'm 33, and yeah.
On your 33rd birthday, you had a dream
Yeah.
about Jesus. So,
The first,
that obviously was important to communicate to you.
yeah, I don't saw Jesus. It was the whole dream was about I met people and I talked to them about Jesus, and I have a big heart, and Jesus Christ, his presence was there. I never forget that.
That's the most important part, because how you felt, and something
Yeah,
that you'll never forget. So you felt the presence of
yeah.
the Christed, and that's a beautiful feeling that you were ready to feel that on your 33rd birthday. What do you think about that, Jack?
My apologies. I was pulling something up. I believe, well, as I understood, you had an experience with Jesus on a birthday. That's
Yeah, a dream.
personal significance. And did it change you? Did you allow it to change you?
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, a bit. I mean, it strengthened my belief. Yeah.
Fascinating. Hey,
I think that is how God communicates in easy ways, I think, or in strong ways. But yeah,
yes, it's both. I
yeah,
think God speaks clearly. God speaks through all things. And that's
yeah,
the mystery. Kind of what you were saying too about love, a little hidden. God and
yeah.
love, they're mysteries. They are unmistakable, yet no putting the finger on. Welcome, TBE.
Hello,
Welcome.
brother. What's up, man? How are you?
Fabulous, man.
Can you hear me
Having
or no?
great conversation. Yes. How are you?
I'm good, man. Just coming in to say hello, spread some love, bro.
Love is what we are here to offer. That's what I've realized for sure. Our selfishness, this worldly ways, the ways that taught us to be selfish and judgmental, resentful, it keeps us confused. It's crazy. Another thing that's, and I did drop the link, it's not a sanity, it's the Sanity Project. Um, and another thing they defined as sanity is to be sane, or yeah, to be in truth. To be sane is to be in truth. The truth is love.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Jack. We we should people that are like-minded and have the same feelings about God. They should sometimes, maybe like once a week, in their communities, get together once a week. Maybe they should like honor God and discuss their communities within that sort of framework. I don't know if that exists or not. Do you think that exists, Jack?
I know it does. I know there's many people who go through that tradition, that weekly tradition of going and sit and listen to someone else talk about a book. I know they worship a church.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean worship? Do you mean they worship the brick and mortar?
Well, no, the concept of a church. They worship the structures of a church and a religion, their little community. They're enablers.
Oh,
They're echo
okay.
chamber.
Okay, let's look at it on a micro scale. Let's say you have a family and you have children, and inside that family you want everyone to be happy and thrive. And so when your children don't behave the way they should be, what should be done? Should rules be applied to them?
Of course.
Okay.
Correction should be offered.
So, as children of God, should rules be applied to us in the same fashion?
I'm not sure what you're asking. What rules by whom?
By our Lord Jesus.
Who is in all things? Is he not?
That's not what I asked you, Jack, but we can get to that part too if you like.
Well, of course, if the Spirit of Christ is the emanation of God, through the expression and language of mankind, which I fully accept that Jesus is the Lord. His way is the way to know the Father, the
Amen.
infinite. But
Hallelujah.
it's not the only way. But the Spirit of Christ is eternal. It is always present. So you asked the question if we, as children of God, should have the expectation of rules being enforced upon us by Jesus. So, okay. So if God the
I would
Father,
say, let me not be so old covenant with it. Not rules, but a certain direction to go in. If that's a better, more soft way to put it.
But Jack was trying to finish an answer and you just cut him off. So why don't you finish what you were going to say first, Jack?
Sorry, I didn't want him to continue on to something that I wasn't really being that rigid about.
I actually it brings the two together, because where I was going to go is that God is the truth. The Spirit of Christ is in all that is true. So truth brings correction. So and actually in the biblical process, yes, what we're experiencing right now is, in my opinion, the result of, humanity's confusion, turning their backs on God, because I truly do believe that we are in a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human form. There's opposing energies of darkness, the satanic consciousness. So what I've heard said elsewhere, and I believe is probably true, is that when we don't have God in our lives, well, that creates the opportunity for the demonic energies, the unpure and evil thoughts to enter us.
I
So
agree, 100%.
think
Yes.
about how many people, assuming from a distance, think about how many people in government obviously don't have God in their lives. They do not live with the love of Christ. If they
Agreed.
did, right. So let's help them. Let's help save them from allowing the destruction and corruption to continue. Let's help those who are quote unquote in charge. Let's help them learn the truth about
Jack,
God. What's that?
Jack, can I say something?
Yes.
I think it's maybe that's just my thought, but I think it's difficult to how can you convince someone who lives in a godless world that there is a God?
Yeah. Well,
But it's obvious
Jack.
that there.
Jack. Scripture tells us that the wide road is the path to destruction, and many will go down it. And some people are pretty much convicted in their delusion. So, no amount of proselytizing is going to overcome that, unfortunately.
Well, let me point this out. That may be true, but when is enough to stop? And have we started? Have we? This is what I want to do.
You mean what do you mean? Have we started? I believe the message of Christ is spread across the entire world. Has it not?
Well, then obviously we're failing to bring the appropriate message, and this is kind of where
is it the message of Christ that's failing, or is it people failing themselves because they're subscribed to their own delusions about the world and what's important and what personal identity is?
TB, amen. Yes, because where we started at, we got a lot of people calling themselves Christian, supporting the two-party oppression system, and then going through that religious tradition. Every week they go to church like good, obedient Christians. And it's a shame that God isn't in the lives of those other people.
Well, I can't speak to the hearts and minds of all those people that go to those different churches, because there's a lot of Christian denominations in America. I'm Orthodox Christian. We don't subscribe to the same sort of doctrine, unfortunately. But
well, TBE
I don't
might-
know. I don't know their hearts and minds. They may all love Jesus Christ, and they may all try to follow him as best as they can. But I'm not going to sit here and say, you know, they're a bunch of phonies that they don't
Right,
believe.
Sure. We shouldn't defend nor accuse people who aren't here, but we can accept there's a lot of people who are misled. And the early writings of the Bible talked about how many churches were getting deceived early, even, right? So we shouldn't be surprised that darkness is that we live in a world of lies. We've just got to figure out what does that mean? And here's what I truly believe is that yes, the word of Jesus and the Bible has been spread through history and time, but the actual messages of love, of mercy, of forgiveness, of compassion, those are obviously missing in America.
Absolutely, I believe it's almost the opposite. It's self-serving rather than service to others. I agree 100% there.
Fear that separates everyone.
Because that's what Jesus Christ was. He exemplified 100%. He offered himself not only to the Lord but to the people around him for humanity.
The fearless.
And that's why he is the way, the truth, and the life, and no one gets to the Father but through him, through his way. And through his way is 100% self-sacrifice for others.
Fearless.
That's true love. True love is the true signifier of love is sacrifice.
Absolutely. I've sacrifice is something I've learned. But along that has also been surrender to God. And what I have found comfort in is kind of where I started with the gift of life and the gift of knowing life. That in of itself is such a gracious gift. And we only know life. Well, we only know life up until now. And now is the eternal moment of creation that we are all a part of. To be sane is to be in truth. We were born into a world where corruption has ruled, where these delusions of authority, right, manipulate some of the words from Jesus, and you've got people serving not each other but serving selfishness, the demons of corruption of corporations.
I agree. There are a lot of false people out there spreading a different message other than what Jesus spread. I agree with that. And a lot of Christian who claim themselves to be Christian aren't Christian at all. They spread a different gospel.
Amen. What I do believe, though, is that God may allow the veils of confusion to fall. And I believe that people are learning. I believe this is the lifetime. Whatever religion people have been following has been the right path for them. But I believe this is the generation we can move beyond religions. We can move beyond beliefs and start bringing the actions of love and faith, sharing those forces with each other. Because as it says, right?
I mean,
God,
besides the religion part, I do agree. I think you can have theology, but it's time to get off the bleachers and get into the game.
admittedly, this is why I've been searching out so many churches just in my town, through 3 or 4 of the churches. There is a network around the world of communication and organization. So the idea I have is let's put it into practice, right? Let's put a call to action out through the Christian community showing that this is the time. not to go out and preach a book, not to push people to a pew, but to help educate each other and bring the love forth that is available.
That's a sort of a false dichotomy you're presenting here of what you're telling people not to go to church. I mean, church is part of it. Unfortunately, we can do both at the same time. We can chew bubble gum and walk at the same time.
Fair enough.
And okay, so you have this idea, let me just make an example. The Roman Catholic Church spends billions of dollars in charity work, and people always have a polemic about, oh, why don't they sell all those things and give it to the poor? Well, they actually do. A lot of the hospitals in America are Catholic-born hospitals. Those are from Catholic blood and sweat and tears. So when people say, oh, well, these Christians aren't doing anything, well, unfortunately, that's not the case.
I don't want to chase that rabbit with you, but God bless you.
I missed it. Now I kind of want to know it.
Listen, I'm not Roman Catholic. We disagree. Our churches aren't in schism right now, but I just wanted, a fact is a fact, So.
Okay. Let me offer a couple different perspectives. You're right. The Catholic Church, the Catholic charities, they have done a lot. There's, local, there's a Jesuit school and many hospitals here that started that way. They've done a lot of good, but you said they donated billions, right? Yep. And here's where I'm going to trigger Flo. Welcome, Sarah, and J-Hub and Flo and everybody.
I want to clarify, they spent billions, and there's also labor as well that was given, not just money. So.
Yes. And to throw a bone to the churches, there's a couple I go to a couple of churches, discovered them here in my community because they're so active in the community. So I don't deny the good that churches do, but economically, poverty is what gives wealth power. This separation between mankind, between have and have not, it's man created. It's maybe satanic created for the purposes of misery, suffering, control, oppression. So let's change it.
The poor will always be with us. Does Jesus say that? TBE or somebody help me out.
What was that?
Isn't there a Bible verse that says the poor will always be with us?
I know the Beatitudes talk about the poor being blessed. I don't know about with us.
Either way, I feel like I'm gonna just let this absurd claim pass by unresponded to, since I've dealt with this one yesterday.
And with the church donating billions, if they're stealing trillions through the birth certificate and all the other things, it's still way out of whack, out of balance.
I personally think that's what they're doing. They play by the rules where you can do evil things behind the closed doors as long as you out with enough good in the public. So for all of those billions and trillions or however much that they're doing out in the public eye, that's how much evil they're doing behind closed doors.
Same with the Bible, why it's so believable, because there's so much truth and goodness in it, they can mix in the craziness with it.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew 26:11. Jesus said, "The poor you will always have with you, but you will not always have me with you." So,
Sure.
So trying to eliminate poverty is sacrilegious, Jack.
Well,
You're committing blasphemy every time you try to get together on the same page, and I'm just kidding.
I truly believe.
Is that serious?
No, that's why I said I'm just kidding.
Good one, Slow State. Good one.
You didn't hear me say I'm just kidding?
Yeah, did you hear me say good one? Because it was clearly good. It was good.
Oh, I see we're friends today.
Yeah, Toilet Bowl Earth is sort of he's a zealot.
Yeah, because I adhere to standards given to me by our Lord, that I'm a zealot. I'll take that. I'll take that badge. Thank you, sir.
If
TBE.
you're so comfortable and confident in your Lord, then why does it freak you out so much when people question him?
Well, it does
Because
not
it's
freak
true.
me out. What are you talking about? That's expected.
Well,
You,
here.
you think this is my first rodeo, buddy? Get a grip.
I mean,
about this?
the last time that I
TBE.
questioned it, you threw me from your panel. So,
Yeah, because you're an annoying spurg.
Oh, Flo, hold on. TBE. That right there. The insult, the projection, the ad hominems
I
you
have
like to
no
offer.
time for reprobates who don't
what is the most
who
important
don't care
law?
to investigate these
Well,
things on their
hold
own.
on.
Who
So
tries to come
you
on
place
panels to try to get
yourself,
gotchas? Sorry, bro.
TBE. I was speaking over you because I was trying to interrupt you, so I don't know what you were saying, but
Go ahead.
brother, just because you learned of a church and you found one way of worshiping God does not place you above anyone else. You are clearly not demonstrating what you claim to know in your personal attacks of others. Now, I've been doing my best not to do personal attacks of others. Can you see that in yourself? That
It's
is
not a
not
personal attack.
right?
It's an observation, Jack. It's not a
You're
personal
making
attack.
an excuse for offering insults that really aren't healthy or helpful. And again, if we're going to claim to be following
So
the
we all
Christ,
need a safe space from harmful words like spurg. You guys,
no,
you're not going to make
it's
it,
not.
folks. You're not going to
What
make
is
it.
Brother, whoa. You're projecting the harmful words. I and everyone else seems pretty content. They've actually been very patient. And
we're trying to discuss the topic?
yeah.
Were you?
Which is,
Were you,
hey,
Flow
how
State?
about-
Were you?
hey, TBE, how about this? Let's play kind of back into the topic, which is the present freedom. Okay, what makes someone free is obviously their self-control, their ability to choose. Self-control is something that I'm going to call it the way I see it, this slave system works is by externalizing control, teaching people to externalize control. And it's not really done through violence as much publicly these days. We are in a spiritual battle. It's being played through our minds. We can either rest in what is true, which is now, or we can run off into imaginations and delusions. Does that make sense?
It does on its own. I don't know if you're connecting that to what we were just talking about, or if you were just standing it up on its own.
I may have gotten on a soapbox there. I'm sorry.
Typical Jack,
Well,
of course. Typical.
no, the whole goal, guys, the goal of religion is what? To give you a personal relationship with God.
No, it's not. That's the
It's
opposite.
to control
That's
the masses.
antithesis of it. The religion co-ops your relationship with God.
Why might God allow it to be? What purpose for God might there be in it? Because if you can see God in all things, you can find the good. And when you can find the good, you can find God. There's a purpose for all things of the past. I trust that. Can't prove that, but I mean, it seems to be pretty provable.
I think
No,
that religions offer a lot of
correct.
positive.
You're correct, Jack. Yes, it is a relationship with God. The purpose of Christianity is our reunion with God through Jesus Christ. So you were correct, but I don't know what the rest you were saying. But I got to get out of here, Jack. I got some stuff to do.
Oh, come on. I just got here.
Thanks for
Thank you for
joining.
letting me on, buddy. I'll be live later, Flow State. You can come back in.
I'm not coming over.
Hey, did you
Court.
unblock me from the chat yet?
Why would I come over?
I
Last time I tried to have a good faith conversation, you threw me out.
You did have
Because
me
you were being a
blocked,
spurd.
but you need
Flow
to-
State.
No, I was
You
asking you
relax.
questions. I was asking you questions that you couldn't answer.
You need to relax sometimes, buddy. Okay.
I'm chill.
Okay.
You
If you
get
have
laid.
questions, listen, Flow State. Let me give you some advice. If you have some questions, investigate those on your own, not looking to me to try
Well,
to get a
I
guide.
have
Okay?
investigated
Because I'm
them.
not. Because I've told. And I've said this so many times. I'm not some biblical scholar. I'm not a theologian. I know what I know, and I'm ever growing in my faith. That maybe you should investigate that on your own first,
Well,
and then
maybe
come
you
ask
should-
me once you do
Maybe
that.
you should be
okay?
more cautious with the claims that you make if you don't know how to support them.
What, that Jesus is God? Read the Bible, buddy. All right, Jack. I'll see you later, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks for stopping
Cool.
by.
So the advice that he left me with is to read the Bible.
And
Insightful.
nowhere in the Bible does it say
I've never heard this from any Christian ever before.
That's one of my frustrations with the churches and religions is
It
that
co-opts your relationship with God. It co-opts your capacity to think. It co-opts your capacity to relate to other people. It does exactly the opposite of what it appears Jesus actually talked about.
But why don't sorry, Flo, can I ask you why don't you believe in Jesus?
Because I think that I don't think that humans have the capacity to actually understand God. I'm not an atheist, but I'm comfortable in knowing the limits of my knowledge. And I think that Christianity and all religions really make the false claim to know what God is. And most of the time, Christians I encounter don't even know what the Bible says.
can
They have
I
indoctrinated beliefs of the Bible. Yeah.
can I offer a guess that opinion is found that one can't know God without a lot of investigation on your own? Because what if you could? What if others could and they communicated it in a way that you could understand it? What if that did happen?
Well, I don't
If
think
it-
he's saying that
if
you
it-
can't know God. You just can't fully know everything
Well,
about him.
and let me soften that claim to I think that I'm open to it being possible, but I think that I don't think it's common at all. And the amount of people who claim for sure to know the thing that they definitely don't know, their beliefs, their lifestyles, they're not even internally consistent.
Flo,
Yeah, but-
you are absolutely right. Many people think they know who they are, yet they present themselves completely different. I mean, we all know examples of that. The God in egoic complex. Flo, when people go looking for themselves, they understand God. Try and figure out who you are. Like, really, what makes you you?
I agree. I agree with what you just said. Cautiously, I suppose what you just said can also really easily be misinterpreted to you are God, like into sort of Luciferian mindset, which is also not great. It could support narcissism, basically.
There
I think
are
I
many.
would change the word understand. Like, I have a relationship with God. I know him, but I don't understand how God works.
Amen.
Like, that's beyond
I think-
possibility, and I think that's what Flo is saying. Like, we
I
can
think
have a
that's the-
relationship and know him, but not understand him.
I think that's the most dangerous part. Once we start to personify God and give him attributes like he's our sky daddy, he's our friend, and we can know that's really when it starts to be it starts to be like a people look crazy out here. Just be honest. Once you start to project the idea that the idea of projecting the God outside of yourself is the initial problem that it all starts with. You can read scriptures that say, the kingdom of God is within you. You can read stuff all like that in the Bible all the time. One of my favorite scriptures is the one where it says, they asked, I think it's Paul or somebody asked Jesus, he's like, where can we find the Father at? And he's like, haven't I been around you all this long? You know what I'm saying? I'm right here in your face. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's what the scripture says. And throughout the whole time Jesus is here, he's telling, hey, if you really read the story of Jesus, he's saying, be like me. He's not saying follow me and I'm greater than you. He's saying, hey, I can go perform these same miracles that I did. You know, he's saying this, that stuff like that. And that doesn't get taught in religion, or any most religions that I understand. Like I said, it all comes back down to projecting a sky daddy, or projecting God outside of yourself. And once you do that, it immediately removes power from yourself. You always need help. You always you're always putting yourself behind the 8 ball. And that's really the biggest problem to me. I can run down scriptures all day, but I've been, through my experience, that's what I kind of got out of it.
Can I say something? The thought.
Nice corn, Jesse. How much of it can you fit in your mouth at one time?
GMO-free corn. It's called Tabor corn. Some of the best corn in the world, genetically modified, free. Not a lot of that left in the world. So when I find it on a little roadside, I definitely go and purchase it.
How do you know what kind of corn it is?
Because it's kind of famous in our province is Tabor corn. It's GMO-free corn, right? So 90%, 95% of the corn in the world now is genetically modified, but there still are some places that you can get the non-GMO stuff.
So far, I think we're going to change that. I see a future where we start caring more about nature and each other, where the corporations and governments don't have the power or the illusions of power that they've been given in the past. I really do, seeing us this lifetime, maybe not bringing it to perfection, obviously, but getting the direction of humanity changed to at least start thinking better ways, more in the future rather than the past. See this? It's happened. I mean, it's so clear. Someone got an echo there. In what the government and the legal systems have done, and the way this education system works. It's all backwards thinking of the past. And that's what's going on today. Everyone's on edge, living with unease within themselves. To know God is that's kind of where I was going earlier. The religions, the idea is to build a personal relationship with God. Well, what is that going to bring? The faith and the peace, the inner knowing of, you know what? It's out of my hands. The results are in God's hands, but the other side of that is, like I said as well, we're characters in this ever-growing, ever-evolving story of humanity. And so we're all these characters. The past, hey, congrats to whatever level you made it to. Socially, financially, whatever. Today's a starting point.
Why? I mean, I have a huge issue with just ignoring the past for the future. We can never learn anything that way, philosophically. It would take ignoring the past or forgetting the past to come into the 21st century and then think that, I don't know, communism is a good idea to try.
Stop putting the label of communism on it.
Okay, how about slavery? Because they're the same thing.
Slavery is what is happening right now. People, without minimizing the past suffering and the true inhumane suffering that is happening now with slavery. I was a slave to my job. What is a slave? One who has no or limited choices in how they spend their time, what they do with their labor. That's the greatest part of the American workforce. They go to work for some boss, some supervisor who's obeying someone else's rules, and they're
But I mean,
without
the problem with I mean, so the problem with saying that this is slavery is the opposite of that. Like extreme freedom also requires extreme. You have to be responsible for yourself, and I don't see anybody complaining about us being in slavery, growing their own food. Right, for instance.
people are not responsible for themselves right now. And the reality is, I mean, if we come into what is real and truly understand the past, then who I am, who each of you are, we're the result of a lot of others. You know, a lot of other people influenced who we've become today, either through education or challenges, you know, love or pain. There was a lot of people involved. There's a lot of people involved in this communication right here, you know, between the businesses maintaining the cell signals or however this stuff works, the electricity. There's no separation from any of us or what is true about the past. We live in a world where lies amongst humans have proven to be profitable, but we don't have to allow lies and secrets to continue. We don't have to allow oppression to continue. I actually think we don't have to allow confusion to continue, but people like to cling to their confusion pretty tightly. I think it's the way we're made.
I think the whole concept is kind of crazy. Like, for us to kind of think that we like freedom is, you know, you gotta be able to do everything yourself. I mean, let's say it's 1,500, right? And you want that T-shirt you got on your chest right now. Are you gonna go out in the fields and pick the cotton for that shirt? You're not.
I
You know what I'm saying?
agree.
Nobody's
I
signing
agree.
up to do that.
I agree. It
Do
was
you
more
get
of
what
an
I'm saying?
example than an actual claim, right? I mean, the point that I'm trying to make is that in order to be free, and I don't believe at all that going to work is slavery. That's a voluntary exchange. There's lots of ways that you can support yourself, but one thing about life is that you have to put an effort to live, right? Every organism has to work to live in some capacity. So, but if somebody else has a different, if the margin for what is slavery is less for somebody else, like it sounds like Jack's is, then okay, we're free enough as it is that we can start addressing these things in our own lives by reducing our dependency on a system that makes you work for dollars and pay the Fed and all that stuff. But we got to do it. It's a lot of work.
Mhm.
What if it could be simple?
Well, okay, explain it.
Because I actually think peace is less complicated than war.
It's
And our
not
government,
complicated, it's just hard. It's just difficult, I think. Go ahead, sir.
well, it's new, it's different because humanity has grown accustomed to discontent and to, you know, this ready to fight. But if we all joined into the present and we were all focused on the future, this is the fairy tale that I think is possible. If corporations and governments were actually converted, we take the power away from them and realign the structures so they actually exist to serve that which they claim to represent now. So if you're a business, you like the idea of business flow, and I respect that, but imagine a world where people didn't work for money, right? And these companies did not exist in competition with each other for profits, but the services and the goods they offered were provided at the lowest cost, with a fair, reasonable exchange between all employees of the organization, and the interaction with the consumers. If the companies were built simply for the value of others and not for profits, then the only jobs that existed would be the jobs that are actually of value. And when people know they're sharing value with their time and energy, it makes the job a lot easier to do.
No, it doesn't. Nobody wants to clean bathrooms because they enjoyed sharing value. Nobody wants to do that at all. And if you want to do like, let's talk about having a company that is there to help others. If then wouldn't the employees want to work for free if they're helping ownership? And wouldn't ownership want to not make any profit? I mean, it just gets there's not a single way that everybody can be helped. What helps me the most and what helps you the most are going to be different things. So it's about navigating where you split the difference. It's not about pretending like everything is just, well, if we just care about others, then it'll work.
Well, okay, you want to play the devil's advocate and bring
No, I'm not just doing that for its own sake. I actually believe what I'm saying.
But look at the way it is right now.
Right.
It's not fair in any stretch. You got money, you can kick people off their property. You can get the law enforcement to come in and kick people off their property. You can, that's
an abuse of government.
Permit.
Yes.
Right. It's corruption at its finest.
But that's what people are. People are corrupt. You're not exempt from corruption. I'm not exempt from corruption. We're just not loaded.
When people commit crimes, when we hurt each other, people only get away with it when it's kept secret, when the knowledge of it is enabled, right? Abusers get away with abusing because the abuse is kept secret, or those who know enable it. Well, guess what? There is economic and
we got to stop going over that. We got to stop going over the secrets thing. We do it every day. That's not the problem. We know that the NSA is still tapping our phones.
To be sane is to be in truth. To not be in truth is to be insane. And this is the I think the signs show this is the time of the divide between humanity. Those who love the truth, those who love, I believe are growing in greater ways. I know that's how I feel.
Okay, so with that in mind, let me ask you, when crimes or secrets get revealed, do they get fixed?
Are you talking currently or in the future?
I'm talking currently, or even in the past. Like the things that we're dealing with, truth, and the future was unknown, so we can't say how the future is because that's just not true. We don't know.
Well, the thing that comes to my mind the most often is the obvious crap the CIA has been playing. There's these records in government where they keep confidential for whatever made up bullshit excuse, and then they declassify it 70 years. Someone picks a time, or some rule picks a time of how long the citizens are kept misinformed, like the mystery from 22 years ago. A lot of stuff.
I agree. Yeah, I get it. We're on the same page there. There's some bullshit. But my point is that when the stuff does come out, or even if it comes out early, like with Snowden, things still don't get changed.
Right. People have become convinced that it can't change, or those in position.
Your mic is doing something weird.
Yeah, what happened?
It's the remix.
Sounds like someone's taking a big fart.
Yeah.
Jack.
Roman, something happened to your connection, Roman. I'm not sure if you even knew that, but I got you. You're muted up for now. You were
talking about how secrets aren't the problem.
Well, the secrets allow people to be corrupted. This is serious. Our human minds are made to be truthful, to be loving.
I don't think that those are I don't think that's true.
That's what our glands do. Our glands respond to the thoughts and the energies in the thoughts. Then the glands produce the chemicals, and the chemicals definitely alter our body. And these
So
bodies,
lobotomies for everyone's glands.
actually, a cleansing of everybody's glands is what's needed. If
what?
humanity,
With a knife?
no, with
Spiritual enema.
with fasting, pure foods, and practices of prayer and meditation, people can start healing and reconnecting to the present. This society gets us trapped in this mind loop, time loop, where we get lost between the past and the future, and we're not as aware and present of what is going on. But what I've learned for myself in my own practices and my own pursuit, I wanted to know. Well, my goal initially was to become greater and to do more in this world. And that led me to trying to understand God and this world more. I feel at peace. I feel in love. It comes from a practice of intentional gratitude, intentional prayer, thought, devotion. I keep my thoughts pure, you know. and this is the stuff the Bible talks about too. Interrogate the thoughts. Keep your mind pure. When you follow Christ, you should sin no more. Well, it's hard to say you're following Christ when you don't have your own understanding of God. What I found for myself, is that I can't know anything right now besides right now. Now is the only thing I can know. And so I can trust God and the Spirit of Christ, to be with me as I navigate myself through time.
We can know the past, can't we?
Of course. The
Okay.
past is to be treasured. Each past is unique. And many are painful. Many are not ones. And you know what? This is coming from my opinion, my experience. I know there's others who have far more challenging pasts than I had to go through. So the past is within each of us. It's something we carry, but we can allow the past to fucking weigh us down. We can allow the past to hold us back, to become our excuse for different. The past is where we learn our fears and our desires. So our time can be spent on either what we desire or what we fear. But if we can receive this moment, each new moment as new, something to be examined and appreciated, when each new moment is new, with a mind for the future about what you desire to experience. If you look at yourself as a character in the game, right? What do you want to level yourself up in? You want to level up your health? Choose better diet, get some exercise in. You want to level up in some new skill. This is your time to do it. The knowledge and the answers are available to us. Invest in yourself, please.
Okay, I'm on board with that.
I love you, Flo.
I love you too. Like a gay uncle.
I think
J-Hub just cammed off. He's like, fuck this.
well, I think J-Hub knows he's loved too. Although I've been
He is.
grubbed.
Both of us can love him at the same time, though.
Yeah. You know,
Just not one from the front and one from the back.
no, right. No.
Praise God.
This was actually one of the inspirations I was reminded of earlier. In this, maybe it might have been the same conversation. Games are fun because we get to play. If you allow yourself to play with life, to kind of laugh at yourself, laugh at some of the challenges, it makes it easier to deal with.
I agree. I think that treating life as a game is a great way to approach it and look at it. I think people's lives get shitty because they take everything way too seriously and put too much, I should be this, or oh my God, I'm not being that. And they got these weird sort of ideals for themselves that are based out of, or standards for themselves that are based out of it, and a perfection idealism that's not reflective of reality at all. And if people compared themselves more realistically, like to the rest of humanity, they go, hey, you know what? I'm not doing too bad.
Expectations not being met. That's the cause of
Amen.
pain.
Flo, that was, and yes, Flo, you described me for the majority of my life. I was miserable because I felt my expectations were not being met, not just for myself, but those around me. And fuck, oh dear, that was miserable.
I mean, I wasn't gonna like put that on you, but it was kind of, I figured that you would pick up that I was talking about you in a way, but I wasn't gonna put you on blast.
It's still showing like that then, huh? All right. I mean,
I can see, I don't know. I feel like I know you pretty well compared to, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I see actually most of this conversation so far, I see as ideals of perfection that sort of are not taking into account the fact that humanity and life is grimy. There is griminess there, and I kind of like the grime.
I know you do. I know.
Hey, Jack. I
yeah.
think what creates quality of life is inequality to a certain extent. You know what I'm saying? You don't get the 50-cent cucumbers without somebody that really needs to go in the fields and pick them cucumbers for really cheap. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I used to be a raw vegan. You can't be a raw vegan in January anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Working for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Trying to grow your own crops and stuff like that most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a quality that we have because it's people that are like really need to go out here and work hard and stuff. That kind of creates the society that we live in, and it's easy for us to be in America and be on sitting in our houses and be on the internet in front of cameras and stuff, talking about idealistic stuff, but it's really people out here trying to get it, and that's
somewhere there's an 8-year-old slave that put this computer together. Is that what you're saying?
exactly. And it's just kind of you can try and fight against it as long as you want, man, but I just don't at this point. Like that's one of the things, like I kind of see a lot of times. It's like, Jack, you have the idea of well, everybody just be peaceful, right? All it takes is a few people that don't want to agree with what you're saying, and then you have to yourself meet that with some kind of force or something. Are you kind of catching what I'm saying? Like if like, Jack, if let's say if we was it's 1956 and it's 10 channels and you preaching on one of the channels and everybody is under the Jack Talcott mindset, right? If all it takes is a small group of people that don't agree with you, and don't want to be peaceful, and then you have to meet them with some type of resistance, throughout the, you talk about the Bible, throughout the Bible, it's a lot in order to, establish the kingdom of God. It's not just people saying, hey, we're going to be peaceful. You kind of get what I'm,
Well,
the Israelites had to overthrow people over and over again, that wasn't aligned with God. And it wasn't through just saying, hey, everybody, smile and be happy,
Some people were born for the protector role, and there's going to be people that are going to have to step up to get it back into balance. I'm not sure if we can just all hold hands and sing Kumbaya and hope that it's all going to get to the right and proper place. So there is going to have to be people that do step up through this transition, because there's going to be those opposing forces that's going to want to destroy it, like it has been since the beginning of time, or since the beginning of this opposing force that has, came onto this earth.
I volunteer for the violent roles.
Well, right. What you're describing is the past, the way humanity, yes, they've shown a pattern of aggression towards not just themselves, but towards Mother Earth, towards the animals that Mother Earth has created. Humanity has shown quite disrespect, not only to each other, but the world we live in. Past generations creating, and we're racking up all this debt to be left for our children under these current ways. So it's going to take people to rise up. I'm inviting people. Let's talk. Let's see what we can do. This is our lifetime to accomplish some changes, and I'm prepared to die in order for change to happen. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because this is the other side of this. Is I'm encouraging people, hey, what would God want you to do? If God was with you and God had prepared you for today with your entire lifetime, the challenges and the lessons all came for a reason. And so if God is with us today, what might God want us to do? That's the questions I asked myself back in 2018. And I continue to ask myself each day, guys. I don't have this schedule, and my life is different. I know I could be doing different things. This is where my life has me. Each day I ask God, what do you want me to do? I sincerely don't know anymore. I come here because it's kind of fun, and I hope it helps.
I think your idealistic vision of the future is possible, just not yet. Like Jesse was saying, we're going to have to bring it back to balance, and that means we're going to have to destroy evil. And there's a big thing that hasn't happened yet, like Armageddon. And we got to tear the whole fucking thing down first. And then we can rebuild into this idealistic vision of yours.
We can't skip that chapter. That's all I'm trying to say. We can't skip that chapter.
It's a little bit of a doozy.
Well, I don't know the words as intimately as some of you, but what if the signs are here, and while we're comfortable, while we may be safe, maybe we're amongst the chosen ones, because we are, let's face it, we are having these type of conversations at this time. So maybe the signs are that this is the time. What if we are the solution? What if, we are here to act in the body of Christ, to bring the love forward into humanity? I mean, that's kind of my goal, to follow the example of the Apostle Paul to some degree. I appeal to Caesar, my wrongful termination, and I want to talk to the fellow citizens in Washington, D.C., who think paying for wars is a better idea than using diplomacy to end them.
Are people in DC fellow citizens, actually?
I believe so, because they come from the States. Maybe
the
by
US
some
citizens. Yeah.
I think they're like Puerto Rico.
Yeah. By oath and allegiance, though. I mean, if
I
Is one-
just was you said that and I just was kind of like, huh, for a second. But
Jack, have you ever seen Game of Thrones?
No, I've heard a lot about it, but I didn't see any of it.
If you ever watch it, you remind me of like Brandon Stark. If you see the end of the movie, if you see the end of the show, it's like his brother has to like conquer the world, and then he gets put in place as the righteous person to kind of lead everything. You know what I'm saying? But it had to be a lot of stuff go down before that happened. Kind of what Sarah was saying.
so it doesn't show you how his rule of righteousness went.
No, that's not important. That's not interesting.
Well, it is if it deteriorates, isn't it? Though? That's why we got to have the grime, or else the show gets boring around here.
Right.
Well,
He can be Bran. I'm gonna be Arya.
I don't know what that means.
I'm going to appreciate that, and if I ever see it, I'll try to remember this.
He's saying you're a midget. That's the midget guy. He said you're a midget.
No, Bran was the third eye. He was the
He was like,
Power
Yeah.
visionary
hungry.
type guy.
the Raven or whatever, the third eye Raven.
You're a
See
bird.
everything. Yeah. See the future and the past.
Jack only sees the future.
Oh no,
Not true. Not true.
Hey,
He sees it all.
I'm focused on the future because God really allowed my eyes to open about the past. Holy crap! And
You have access to the
humanity.
Akashic records, Jack. Did you do
What's
that when
that?
you faced your fears? When you faced your fears and aspired into your anima, did you gain access to the Akashic records?
That's what I'm
No.
saying. He's a raven.
Okay.
He's a raven.
You will. Keep practicing.
Keep practicing those enemas so you can get the Catholic record.
I've heard many people have that gift of connection, travel, all sorts of conscious experiences. And Roman mentioned he had his own personal experience. I cannot point to anything supernatural. But I think that's my purpose. I'm here grounded in form. Everything that has happened has logical explanations. Nothing mysterious to point to, but logic and reasoning brought me to my faith.
Well, okay. Faith is so illogical.
I know it is. That's why it's a challenge for our minds. I think it's kind of the game that God has invented, right? We can choose consciously thoughts of love or thoughts of fear in any moment. But the way our minds are created to exist in this physical realm, the reptilian, cold-blooded, just reactive nature is there. But I learned the idea is that if you look at things in concept, the idea of a child growing and maturing, what is happening as we reach adulthood is we're learning self-control. Initially, child is just distracted by lights and it focuses on whatever it sees, but we learn self-control. That's also the path to ascension, right? Becoming more spiritual in nature is learning how to control your earthly reactions. And if we help each other, where we're at today, brothers and sisters, this oppression, and division, it's been enabled by choice, by conditioning, but we don't have to stay divided for the future. And as a matter of fact, the way things are changing, some of the agendas that are being rolled out, I don't think we should stay divided between us and them anymore. I think there's a way to do this, to change it. And if secrets are no longer legal, if employees have full disclosure over the operating interest and what the value and direction of the corporation is, if employees all the way along the chain have equal responsibility and reward for the jobs they're performing, people will start growing up. They won't be saying, boss told me to do that.
Jack, have you ever read your
everybody don't have
insurance
equal value.
policies?
I didn't catch either of that.
Okay, J-Hub, you go.
No, I just said everybody doesn't have equal value. That's why that system kind of
That's
doesn't work. But
Totally
Flo,
true.
Go ahead.
We do at our soul level.
But that's not what we're assessing things on. That's not that's not
fine.
where the
That's
that's
true.
not where the issues are that Jack's trying to address.
How do you determine
That's
that
how we
value?
solve the issues, is recognizing the spirit and the divinity, the value of all, the value that each and every single being can bring forth. Now, whether they choose to or not, that's between them and God. But where the society comes in, where the families and communities come in, is we start helping correct and help educate.
Well, if somebody chooses
other.
not to contribute what they could, why would they deserve to get as much as if they did contribute?
That's kind of like, it's a one thing, like even the Constitution says all men are created equal. They were created equal, but their results are not equal. It's your experience in life and stuff that comes after that makes you who you are. It's not how you were created. The fact that you have a soul, does not determine your value.
And even over time, you're
just
not equal to
just
yourself.
because you exist doesn't mean that I mean, I hate to say it this way, but you should be respected, honestly. Everybody isn't respected the same way. I can have compassion for humanity, for everyone, but in reality, from man to man, I don't think any man just respects another man the same way that he respects, a certain men. All men don't get the same level of respect. So I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Monetary value, but the monetary value that they put on different things. Some people are just poets and they write poems. So should they not have the same as other people? They're contributing. Artists, they put art into the world. They're creating things beautiful. How is that monetary value more than what someone else is doing? Everybody has different talents and gifts. It's when they force people and put them in doing things that they're not meant to be doing in this monetary system where things get really out of balance.
Because if my toilet is clogged and you read me a poem, I'm gonna slap you. I'm not gonna pay you. That's
well. But he's saying that the poet should be writing poetry, not being forced to clean your toilets.
Nobody wants to clean the toilet. Everybody would rather sit around and doll around in their little poetry than
actually, there's people who don't mind cleaning. I've met many of them. There's people who don't mind cleaning, and when we know we're in service of others, and we know that we will be appreciated for the service we're sharing, man, I'll clean poopy toilets if people appreciate me.
I wish you lived closer, Jack.
Yeah, that's awesome. You got sewers packed up all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Go give your service.
Sometimes you got to flush more than once. That's the problem, J-Hub. You got to do the courtesy flush right out the bat, and then
hold on. Here, the other part, though, to what J-Hub was saying and what Jesse said is humanity, by our environment and conditioning, by our choices, we have a collective misplaced value system, right? We've got people have idolized all sorts of different things. And when I say idolized, I mean they worship like it is, what's the right word? Sacred. Everyone is sacred. The monetary value, dude, we live in a real life game of Monopoly that started a long time before we did. And it's a long game they've been playing. Many of them.
They're sacred too, right?
They are, and they are very confused. I know that helping confused people helps the community. Um, and the people
Margot
of
is
great
Margot
wealth,
sacred?
Margot has a sacredness within her.
No,
which
she
is why-
doesn't.
Yes,
No,
she
she
does.
doesn't. That's where I draw the line at Margot. Margot
I-
has no redeeming sacredness inside of her.
I'm confident that there are others in her life and in the community, even in her profession, that
Probably
respect
hate her more than we do.
No, she's not such a vile lady. You've just seen her interacting with me.
So you're saying maybe she could be fermented into something that's not Margot, but that is valuable.
All of us can. Everyone in
she's
this
watching.
moment, if we are alive, we have the freedom to choose. If we have the freedom to choose, we have the freedom to grow. Okay? And we grow into the future, but if we're all focused on the past, or if we're always believing, predicting in negative outcomes, in failures, here's something I learned for myself from years of mistake. I don't know what I can accomplish until I try. I'd like to try bringing peace through the citizens of the United States Congress and see how far around the world we can take that.
I kind of like what Jesse said earlier, because I kind of had that thought process at one point in my life. It's like why are there no more philosophers? Because it's not a paying job. It's not an engineer or something like that. It's not a part of our society, that gets a financial reward for it. So I totally understand what he's saying with that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I kind of had that thought probably 10 years ago. It's like, man, if I wanted to just sit around and be a great thinker, I can't feed my kids doing that. So you got to make a choice.
Starvation.
We would all love to sit around and just be geniuses, but it doesn't provide service to anyone else.
Hey, welcome, Joe. Cool.
Ah, fuck.
Actually, in my experience, that literally, not by choice. Well, I guess it was by choice. I couldn't come up with other options, and I did come to that conclusion. Well, maybe that is why God's got me here. I'm comfortable. I'm safe. Maybe I am supposed to sit around and think about God all day.
Maybe you are, but hopefully God's going to pay you for that.
I pray to God that something changes eventually.
We also have to take into consideration now with the emergence of computers and robots and things, a lot of these mundane jobs and positions can start to be taken by, things that people don't want to do. Can maybe put it, if we use this technology in the right way, then we can use it to help society where people can be a lot more free to explore who and what they are, the passions of what's in alignment with them without having to worry about if the toilet's going to get clean.
Here's the thing about that, though, and I think that a great example of what I'm going to speak on is Google Maps. Nobody wants to pull over the side of the road and look at a map and trace a little line and try to figure out where their exit is to get on a road trip. That said, now that we all have Google Maps and use them exclusively, nobody knows how the fuck to navigate at all. I don't do it very well anymore. My daughter, when she starts driving in a few years, she won't have a fucking clue what that concept even is. So the mundane things, I just caution people on being too quick to throw them away. And hi, Margot. I don't have any plans tonight. Do you have plans tonight, Margot?
Yes, some of the old skills, navigating on a literal paper map. People become so accustomed to the technology, and I found myself guilty of it as well. Following the voice on the navigation on the phone, I don't know where the hell I am when it's time to leave.
Guilty is an understatement. I die without Google Maps, bro.
Right?
I
Can you
don't
imagine
think
going
you
back
would
to
die, Joe.
MapQuest?
No, I couldn't imagine it.
Have to figure out the address and figure out to type in your address and print that shit off, or else try to give yourself shorthand notes that you can't
What
read
about
later.
what about before MapQuest when you used to go to the gas station and maybe y'all not that old and you know you had to
Buy an
drive.
atlas.
Yes, atlases was a thing, right?
I still keep one of those in each vehicle just in case I happen to be like in a different state and everything goes down.
Brilliant, bro.
I wonder how often they update those maps. There's always construction work. They're changing all the roads all the time.
I
But
bet
mostly
Google
they're just like fixing the roads or widening them. They don't really like
changed
drastically.
much
Do an
over
overhaul
time.
like
That's a
they
good
did with
point.
435.
Traffic jams, and they know exactly how much, where it's that stuff just puzzles the fuck out of me. How they know exactly where that is. Definitely, they're watching us.
Hey, there's
What?
benefits
How
to
would
the
they know?
technology.
Sensors? They gotta be sensors. on
Dude,
the road.
I love this. Hold on, sorry, Jack, but I love the speed traps thing. Is there still a speed trap here? Pops up on your Google Maps right before like
Yeah.
you pull up to the speed traps. Like,
Yeah.
yes, it is.
That's why, even though if you know where you're going, you can just put in the address, and it actually helps you along the journey with these things if you drive a little bit excessive.
I mean,
I
it makes
drive
it so easy to
excessive.
drive that I swear to God, I could read a book on this thing while I'm driving and then arrive at my destination and not remember getting there at all. Just
If you're not careful, yeah.
Technology definitely has its benefits, and that's why it's easy for me to remind myself how blessed I am today. Right? Today, to live where we are, for the most part, I think everyone here on the panel for sure, I think we're blessed to have the comfort, the lives we're living. And guys, I think it's incumbent upon us. No, I don't. You know what? Let me not say that, because this is God's plan being revealed for us, the future. How we feel and what we do is up to us. I have in this crazy imagination of mine the idea that we can do better, that the Federal Reserve can go away. And I think that humanity, if
Small
everyone
goals
was,
like that, man.
It's not
If-
too far off.
if humanity, if everyone was not so afraid of survival, afraid of the neighbor, afraid of the guy across the street, if everyone was not so afraid,
you don't know
I think
my neighbor.
people
I swear to God, the people across the street, the old lady lives with them too. And she'll all night long, you can hear her screaming at people. If you don't turn that shit to nobody, if you don't turn that shit down, I'm calling the law. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, I think we're that neighbor over here, right? You know, everybody got acres and we still manage to get on people's nerves, bro.
You know, people are weird. People are fascinating. But what I've come to learn, not everyone is in control of themselves. Okay. I don't claim to know demons or see them, but I've heard enough experiences and testimony to believe in the supernatural.
You haven't messed
And-
enough? Kidding.
Yeah.
So you haven't messed enough with the demon. I'm joking.
And you're gonna summon him just like that. He's gonna be up here.
Fuck you,
Marfugal,
Joey. Pogo,
Montagram.
soda, optics are high.
Oh, hey, where I was going though is if people were not afraid, then, you know, if honesty and the facts, if truth was really respected and shared freely with each other, we could have a free market using the logistics distribution system, kind of like what we've got now, except
I think we're in agreement with you,
Free.
but I don't know if we agree that thing is achievable. I think me and Flo, at least, are pessimistic about, you know, people's nature.
Yeah, and I don't think that we can. I don't agree that the problems in the world are the result of just wrong thoughts about the situation.
I love it, Flo. I love it.
you don't.
No,
When do the actions
I
come
think
into play?
I think that our thoughts and worldview and stuff, like all that stuff, plays into the reality we create for ourselves. But I don't think that we can solve the problems that exist by just acting like they're not problems, or they're not there, or there is no reason to be suspicious of anybody.
Sure. I can understand. And please, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Who is that? Tupac, the actor?
I don't know what to think about a lot of these characters who rose to fame, but Tupac shared a lot of truth. He was kind of a poet and a prophet.
A
He's
lot
still
of that
sharing
came with the
truth in Cuba.
a lot of that
What?
came with the courage that he had.
Yes.
I didn't hear you either, Jesse. If that was you.
He said,
Or-
God, this corn's good.
Oh.
I said he's still sharing truth in Cuba.
Oh, wow.
Truth. Jesse just shared truth to all of you.
Well, hey, I agree. You guys are still a little skeptical. So far, unconvinced. I appreciate that, but I also appreciate the chance. I don't think we have a choice. I mean, the direction of
Just so you remember where we
corruption-
were. I don't know if you remember where we were. You were saying that if all people had truth and honor,
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
if all things are true and honest, these things would work.
Yes.
And we were saying perhaps not. So please continue.
Because they're I get it. Part of our life progress, part of growing and maturity is learning discernment.
Agreed.
But in my experience, in my view, most of this corruption and stuff only happens if it's enabled. You know, crimes happen because there's other people who know.
Because
There's other
karma's got a
people-
delay.
What's that?
Because karma has a time delay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I think it has in the past, but this is one of the things I've heard maybe changing. Time and our experience is changing. Speaking of change, welcome, Brother Unslavius.
You never
Holy
know.
shit, Jack. So much is changing, man. I'm talking to Flow State privately now. We're going to start doing panels. We're shaking up this metaverse. Jesse Howe was over by me yesterday. We had an amazing conversation. Joe Cool did 3 hours with me on how you're a narcissist. Boy, are we having some changes. J Hub supporting and contributing and donating to me now. Sarah, we had an interesting conversation as well. So I'm loving what I'm seeing here.
Good.
How about you, Jackie boy? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling free in my presence. Right now, the gift of the past has brought me to this present reality of today. And I'm always glad. Well, not always. Most times I'm glad to see you, Paul. I'm glad to see you today.
Well, I'm always glad to see you, Jack, even if you're rarely ever glad to see me, because I'm thankful, grateful, peaceful, loving, and blessed. And even if you're not, I'm still going to continue to be me.
I am, though. I am peaceful, filled with bliss. Anyway, today's the day.
Cheers, Jack. Cheers,
Oh.
everybody. Good to
Hey,
see y'all.
Good to
How
see
y'all
you too.
doing?
Hey,
That's
Dick,
good.
what's going on, man?
What's happening? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, Jack.
There was something I wanted to. I was reminded today may have some significance. As I understand it, yeah, I haven't read the book yet, but it's the Talcott pedigree in England and America. As I understand it, today, September 16th in 1632 was when the first Talcott arrived in America. So it's a day of celebration for me. Welcome to all of you.
You really left yourself open for that one. I'm just gonna pass that one right up.
Now, I have some information here that says about 2 weeks after that date, the first restraining order was created. Do you know anything about that?
There's too many openings here, right?
It could be, man. It could be. There's some rebels and some interesting stories from the Talcott line, as I understand.
So does that mean that all Talcotts come from that same cat? That can't be a thing, right?
No, I don't. No, I don't
Alright.
think so.
Jack, I told you, I always saw it in you, man. You say you don't think so, but I'm going to revive this energy. That original Talcott was slinging dick like nobody else, okay? That was the real man. He came here. He beat the odds. He repopulated. You're here right now, all because of the strength and resilience of that man. You should be feeling that man looking at you, looking down on you, empowering you, inspiring you to throw dick like you've never thrown it before, Jack. Come on now.
Yeah. I look forward to those opportunities. Actually, interesting enough, some of the things I have been putting off looking into, I've been looking into more, and seems there's plenty of knowledge about it. The practice of retention for men. And
oh, you really
holding the seed, huh, Jack?
What kind of retention?
Semen retention.
Oh, you're not talking about braces?
No. Well, the logic behind it makes a lot of sense. The amount of bioenergy and life force that is taken to reproduce. I understand there's a lot of nutrients or chemicals that are found in the ejaculate.
That's
that are
just what we
also
tell
in the
women.
brain.
It's not really true.
And Jack, did you say you've been practicing? I'm
curious how you, Mr. Flo and Paul have projects coming up. How that's going to go? That's interesting.
Hold on a second, Seppi. First, can you flash up the share screen I've got here so that I can show this to Joe Cool real quick, and then we'll come back to Snafu's usual shit. This is A Kill the MC.
Okay.
It's Tupac.
What?
We're not doing this, are we? Jack, you're allowing this nowadays over here? I haven't checked in a bit.
You just really
there's no way he's allowing this.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know.
That's Tupac's new acting role.
What the
I'm pretty sure that's Joe Cool's uncle, man, and that ain't Tupac. I mean, we could get him on the phone right now. Joe?
My uncle is white. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that was anticlimactic. All right, I'll stay away from that in the future.
It's like a Rob Cleveland J-Hub mix.
Hey, this realm we live in is far stranger. That might be Tupac. There could be.
Look at Jack looking at it. Jack, like, I don't know.
I could go on about this, but I will spare you guys the Tupac death hoax.
I'm down. You'd get jumped if you continue, but I'm down.
Oh, I've said this in Fight Club, and I instantly got bought off of this panel. Like, no, but black people don't appreciate you talking down on Snoop or on Tupac.
Wait, that's like saying Elvis alive. I don't think nobody's really gonna be thinking you're talking about Tupac's been dead for years.
I don't know. Yeah, okay. No, I know that you're saying that, and I know that that's what the news reported. I know that's what it says on the autopsy they didn't do.
I saw pictures, bro.
Seizure, dude.
I saw pictures. He was cut open. He was filleted.
They didn't do an autopsy. He was cremated the next day without an autopsy, which is illegal in the state of Nevada.
They got pictures with his chest
I've seen rotten.com as well. Right. It's a fake.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Is it really?
Rotten.com.
Yeah, they did it. They cremated him the next day. There was no autopsy done. That's illegal to do in Nevada, but they did it anyways. Yes.
You have fucking looked into this.
Hey, this is some of the there is so much corruption and so much mystery in the choices that some of our fellow people have been making. I've been looking in, I keep learning more and more about what is happening in our society, the corruption that is just undeniable. And
what do we do? What do we do? What should we do?
I truly believe, a little cliche, we got to do many things. We get to do many things. One of the most important is turn to God. Trust in love, trust in truth. It's time for us to endure together, so it says, and rise above, to bring forth.
I want to
stop being afraid.
All right.
Amen.
Turn to God. I agree. That is the first step. We know. There's time that we talk about the other stuff, though, right?
Full disclosure, transparency, stuff that we need to have accountability. Things that have gone on, we got to start putting things back into balance.
Yes,
balance. That's a good one.
Speaking of
believe
balance,
he
I
speaks with
noticed
such
a lot of us
conviction.
have made amends and coming together. Mr. Flo and Mr. Paul have been having some conversations, I heard. That's good, Mr. Flo.
What have
Well,
you
we all
heard?
have to unite now against the monograph pedo pogo. Turns out the guy actually is a pedo pogo. We couldn't figure that out because Snafu Snaps was so busy yelling and screaming about it for so long. We couldn't actually listen to him and hear him.
Here's
So the
what
town
I'm
crier
curious
village idiot was right for once. The dog, sun shines on a dog's ass
Clock
every
is
once in a
right.
while, I
These
guess.
broken clocks are right twice a day.
Let
Shit, yeah.
me ask a question, but phrase it as a claim, and then Snafu, you can respond to it. You work for Monogram Graph or whatever his name is, and you're out promoting him.
It's funny how he always comes up with the same ideas I have. I already said that earlier today.
Well,
I mean, I swear to God, I've never heard of him until Snafu, and I've still never heard of him anywhere.
I'm calling the guy saying he's involved in pedophile rings.
But
He's a
you're the
criminal
only
covering up
link
criminal
between
debtor,
us.
dirty fraud.
This is the thing. The
I'm
guy
willing to get
yelling.
sued by this piece
The
of
guy
shit, or even
yelling.
worse, I'm
Jack
calling
told
him
you
out.
yesterday. Jack told you yesterday. He said the guy always yelling pedo pogo is probably the guy who's it. He said it in an indirect way.
Why is it Monograph going after you?
Right. Why are you the link to all these people who wind up attacking me while you claim to be helping me, while
You're
also
a
attacking me?
But hey, this is unity. Let's get back to the subject.
Yeah,
They
I
literally
bet
watched
we need
Jack
unity
throw.
now, don't
Yeah,
we?
this is unity. He's getting pinned
You and
against the
Talcott
wall.
need to fix
Jack
things.
threw
You
you
and
out
Talcott need to
yesterday
fix
because he
things,
is so tired of listening to you attack me. He'd love to attack me, but you couldn't even do it in a way that fit into the broadcast. He had to throw you
get
out.
back into the topic and balance and
This
not
is an
Let's see
important
Talcott
topic.
and you fix things right
Yes.
now, Mr. Enslavia and
on.
Mr. Talcottia.
You know what? We are growing. We're growing together, and I think it is time to find greater, not enemies, greater targets.
Enemies works. We can
Pedo
leave it there.
Pogo, Pedo Pogos. Sorry, Talcott.
Well, look, if that's true, there is a lot of sick fucking people in this world. And that's my judgment coming out, but we're supposed to find ways to love one another, and what is happened in the past has been atrocious throughout our world, but it really is the time. I think the solution is disclosure. Whistleblowers need to start coming together, standing up. We need to be able to support the people who are willing to walk away from their jobs. Like maybe some of the law enforcement, if they're supported in their endeavors, maybe they'd be willing to stand with us for some changes.
Okay, crazy idea here, Jack.
Hey,
Follow me, because I feel like we're going to go to the same list you always go through and never get anywhere. And I want some new shit going on here. We all get now. Okay, we got to do this legally and lawfully. We all actually apply to become policy enforcement in the same area, and we just replace all of them. And we just govern ourselves and each other how we're supposed to be.
Isn't the
strategy?
There's a whole bunch of people that wanted to deputize new sheriffs to be able to actually hold some of these, nefarious governments accountable.
Wait.
I'm going to go on public record, since this is a public platform and it's forever, basically, that I don't know what y'all are talking about. I'm just here to talk about peace and love and shit.
I'm just talking about filing an application to be policy enforcement and doing it to the best of my ability with other community members.
All right,
Nothing
that
wrong with
sounds
that.
reasonable. Jesse started taking it someplace that was a little like, who are these people he's talking about?
Yeah, deputizing sheriffs. These sound like nationals who want to take people to Guantanamo. I can't be part of
Then
that.
you deputize yourself.
We can all gain authority of the truth and allow the truth to be the direction, not quote unquote authority. And if where we're at right now, the problem and cause, they're all together. We've got oppression through the militarization and the policing from fellow citizens. Fellow citizens are hired to do the job to kill and police other citizens, and it's right in front of our faces. But what do? It is time, and where I was going with cops. I don't know a lot of police directly. The interactions I've had with them have not been that
You
pleasant.
should start your own militia, the Talcott militia.
Well, I don't want wars. I don't want fights. I want
Not on
Peaceful
YouTube.
militia.
Not on YouTube.
if there's going to be an army, that army should be in place to help ensure the leadership works with peace, to support their endeavors so that peace is achieved. And I know peace can be found.
Would you have a
Jack, I got to
process-
correct the record, Jack. Turns out they just reminded me, the audience over on my side, of something. If we're going to all be policy enforcement, we got to pass the physical exam, and that's going to leave me out. So I'm going to wind up being dispatch, which is kind of better anyway. I get to call everything in. You get to hear me all day. I'm a comforting voice for you while you're out in the field.
We can all find roles. And that brought me to the point. I do believe there's many police who are in those with the mind and heart of service. Now,
Maybe
do
a
they
couple, not
speak
many.
up? What's that?
I don't think many. Maybe a couple.
It's, we're at a time of change, and many people are guided on their own paths.
No,
So,
that's not really a thing, Jack. I fuck with the police all the time. If one of them is giving you shit, and there's 12 out there, none of the other 12, which would mean many people are on the right path, will correct him. In fact, they will all back him up. It can't be that many.
that was going to be the exception I pointed out, is that even though there maybe people there with the idea and the mind of service, do they speak up on what is right? Well, if they bought into this idea that they have power and authority over others, well, they're going to stick with their own.
Now you sound like me. Yeah, that's how I think. Yeah.
Typically, the person that's giving you crap right there is the alpha of the group, and the other ones are afraid to do anything or say anything because of the backlash. So they just go along with it.
I think we should end the police dog scam. Like they are doing anything besides just what their handler tells them, right? Like, oh, the dog hit on the car. Well, no fucking shit, it hit on the car.
Yeah, it's trained to hit on the fucking car.
You pointed at the car, and then you gave it a treat.
Hey, Flow State, if you just want to talk to me privately, I could give you other ways to get your shit from point A to point B. You won't have to worry about them dogs no more.
They say 50-50 is like flipping a coin in the field. The way they got by in enclosed environments, they set up, the dog hits higher, but in the field it's supposed to be like 50-50. So you could flip a coin and they could search your car. That's what
They don't even. I've never even had a dog used in reference to me, but they did. Well, they did say that the dog hit on the safes when I was raided.
Yeah.
But I heard from my neighbors the dog never left the car. So they just say shit,
That's it. I had a dog hit on my car. I think he just said shit because I had the shit in the bag in the trunk. They threw the bag out on the ground as they tore the car apart. Dog didn't say nothing.
I wonder how they handle that if you have a German Shepherd in your car as well, or a pit bull. It's like, hey man, you you can't say
My
it's
dog hit on your dog.
It's hitting. I have a fucking dog in the car. Of course, it's going to be distracted by that. They'll probably say our dog is so smart it knows not to respond to your dog.
Right,
but
of course,
no, that's a racket. I've had that personally happen where I was in a rental car. I was coming back from Southern California. I went through a reservation that's right between Nevada and Utah. There's a little sliver in there, and they pulled me over. They said we're the interdiction department, and I didn't know a lot about just what I've learned with these conversations here, but I did know enough to say you can't search the car. But then, of course, they said, are you armed? And I said, of course I am. And they used that as reasoning to say, well, we need to search the car. And I said, I don't comply. I don't consent. And then they brought the dogs. And had I known what I know now, I would have went through am I being detained? Am I free to go? Because there may have been a little window there. I could have fucking got back, moving. But because I wasn't educated and didn't have that acumen to say that, I went through the whole deal, and they left me out in the desert, freezing my ass off while they're fucking rifling through everything. Because, of course, the dog hit, right? It's a rental car. But there was nothing in it.
If they got cause, they can hold you there while they get a dog. That's held up in court. But if it's for a trafficker's ticket or something, they cannot hold you there while they go get a dog.
There are time constraints though for how long they can wait for the dog.
That's what I mean. Yeah, because they got to.
You guys are arguing over court determinations, which are the opinions of other men and women, and that's exactly how the system is set up for you to all argue the opinions of other men and women.
Don't get high and mighty. I learned a lot of that shit from you. You talk about that shit a lot too.
It's not about high and mighty. I'm just saying that you've never once heard me sit around and argue their verifications and validations for taking up Mr. Talcott's time on the side of the road, whatever that's worth to him, to get a dog to have him searched. I'm going to say no. You have to compensate him. His time is worth something. Simple.
I'm not so sure you talk about anything a whole lot different. You talk about the way the fucking system fucks you over. Ain't that what we talking about?
We're talking about the mechanics of it. Paul's talking about the
You're justifying it.
Also, they should be held accountable for the times that they use the dog and then not get in the car. There should be some kind of extra accountability so that stops happening.
Yeah, but
first of all, the emergency lights aren't supposed to be used to stop you at all. So we're already way too deep in by that point.
There's a small window there where if they don't do their due diligence within the time frame, like say they stop you because you're using your cell phone, you're not supposed to be. They have to address that part of the stop, and that if they extend it, you're there on your own recognizance, is what I'm saying. And at that point, you should be leaving because they're now performing an investigation at your will.
Right. And in fact, they're looking at the legislation to make it where they must leave you alone once they continue that part, because they always try to stall and wait till a dog comes.
The Kansas two-step.
All right.
Texas Supreme Court.
Yeah, I call it the Texas two-step because I hate Texas.
It just went to the Supreme Court because I-70 goes through Kansas, and the Kansas Highway Patrol is real bad about doing that thing. They'll finish up a first stop,
I saw it,
and then start to walk away, and then reinitiate a conversation. The person doesn't even know that they're free to go at that point.
Yes.
Right. Because if I was just going on my own accord, why would I even...
we can, Dick?
Oh,
I'd like to get back on topic if we can. I mean, narrating what others may or may not do is, it's great, and it's good to learn from the experiences of others, but we live in a world where these fellow people are costumed, and they think their employer gives them the right and the duty to pull people over and enforce arbitrary policies that they can think of and remember. So,
all right, as long as we got Paul in here, here's a chance for me to learn some shit. Paul, why is it that they cannot?
Hey, whoa! You know how fucking insulting that is.
Oh
Go ahead,
God!
Joe.
If I'd have asked, no, you wouldn't be in your panties, bro. This is what Paul's good at, right?
No, look at. I want you to consider how disrespectful that is later. But
disrespect must be intended, bro.
But Jack, part of holding them accountable and part of looking for solutions is how we deal with these policy enforcers, these road pirates. So this is kind of on the topic that we're kind of wanting to discuss here, right?
My point was, Joe has spent time here on this panel, and he says, hey, since Paul is here, this is an opportunity to learn something. Like,
meaning
me is not an opportunity to learn something, but here, go ahead. I was joking.
No.
Let's lobotomize Joe.
All right.
Go ahead, please.
That was good. That was a good setup, right? We got the right cat in the room.
Yes.
Jack says that shit, no way I remember what you said, but Paul would have been the cat who I wanted to answer that question.
What about having a fee schedule ready and saying, look, if you're going to take my time, I just need you to sign right here. This is what my time is worth. So if we're going to have an interaction, these are my conditions and terms. You sign this piece of paper, and then we can continue on with this interaction.
Let's play through that, though. I'm the cop, and I say no. Now what?
Right.
I got friends who do that. I got friends who do that all the time. They say I charge $5,000 a minute. It never goes anywhere. Nothing ever happens.
Where I'm trying to take this idea is, let's talk to the bosses. Okay. Let's talk to the ones who are responsible for the employees. Okay. Because, you want to challenge an employee on the side of the road who's armed and, has been conditioned and taught to think that the people he pulls over, they could be a threat to his life. So you want to start getting
Feeling invincible
Let's talk to
today.
bosses in civil fashion.
I've done that, Jack, and I've went all the way up the chain. I've talked to. I'll just skip to the top. I've talked to the Inspector General, the fucking Illinois Supreme Court nominees, and everything in between. And I can tell
Good
you
for
that
you.
the higher you go, the worse that person is. Right? The better they are at spinning you and making you think they're charming, but they are like 10 times more deceitful than the guy up under them. That's how they get the job, I believe.
That's true. I agree with that, Mike.
What about just going and talking to the sheriff?
I've tried that.
I
locally.
mean,
I
that would
haven't had
apply
luck.
to what Joe was just speaking on, right? They're higher up the ladder than
Right.
the deputies.
James Freeman, you
Hey.
guys don't watch these. I'm sorry, Jack, but it's relevant. James Freeman, he does these type of things. He went and talked to a sheriff who said he would not do that mask shit. And he was going live, and we all got to know the sheriff. And as soon as the judge told him, someone was in the court who disagreed with the judge kicked him out and told him, you tell him he was not wearing a mask, he can't stay. And the sheriff immediately did what the judge said. All that wooing us about how he would not, I follow the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. The first time the judge put him to the test, his ass folded. And
Now, couldn't that be him following that it's the judge's courtroom, right? Like,
yes, but his sheriff's office is literally next to the judge's courtroom. There was a dispute, and the guy, James Freeman, went next to the sheriff's office and asked, what if the judge said make a motherfucker wear masks? He said, we don't enforce mask shit. James was up there every day talking about this, the greatest sheriff in the world.
And then he contradicted himself.
And I mean indoors, not outdoors next to each other, indoors next to each other. That's
Then he capitulated. I've just figured out how to use that word correctly. He capitulated.
that's a good word. I'm proud of you, man. You're making a move.
Opening, yeah.
Well, I incorrectly used it with Paul just a moment ago, so I had to look it up. I'm like, oh fuck.
You're going places. I see the improvements.
Every day, little bit, little steps, sometimes steps backwards, but
Progress is wonderful to see.
Progress, not perfection.
I want to at least thank you, encourage you, and maybe congratulate. Good job, Joe, trying to talk and reason at these different levels. You've got that experience. That's what I've been pursuing myself.
I would love to tell you stories about how evil these fucks are, because I don't, so you know what you're up against.
Can
I could
shout
give
out
you a
Tracy
couple right
Wendell,
now
the
if you
prosecutor
got
from
it.
Pratt County, Kansas.
Here's
Tracy, you're a hoe.
the tactic I want to attempt is, where two or more are gathered, there is God. And so I believe if we go in with witnesses, and this is the idea I have too.
Now you said not go alone. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, I'm listening.
With witnesses, then you've got a better chance of people really trying to understand.
What do you guys think about that idea? Off top, can you see any flaws?
I think it's a great tip.
It's like the idea behind an intervention, and that's basically what we are trying to do is have an intervention.
It sounds logical, bro. I can't see any flaws yet.
They're beholden to the citizen, so if you go with 10, you'll have that much more weight.
It would seem that way, yeah.
I think that at some point you sort of crest the utility and start moving into I'm not meeting with that mob.
I think you're right there.
Yes, that would happen as well.
That's you got to respect the humanity of the person, and the situation. But this is my belief. I believe that if we go in, if we can create the opportunity with people who may have some power with legislation or some power with wealth, if we can get their attention and reason being to being, hey, this is
how do we get their attention?
We
how do we get their attention? That seems difficult.
Well,
hammer.
That's where the numbers
Bottle
are
break.
full.
Jesse's getting arrested.
No, it must be getting time for High Vibe Love Tribes.
HVLT starting soon.
Where's my ecstasy?
I know, right? Where's my pills?
How we have those?
I'll jump in. Oh, go ahead, Jeff. My bad.
No, Feel free, Timmy. You've been patient. Welcome.
No, I was just going to say from my experience, thanks, man. From my experience, it's you need to know what the fuck you're standing for first before you can involve others. So, there's a difference between complaints and claims. Like,
Amen.
I don't want to hear people's complaints. And usually, mostly, that's what I'm fucking hearing out here is people complaining. They don't actually have a claim of what they're claiming. And a claim is directed to what is the claim about? It's about property. Property is our highest right. Whether that's your body, your ability to breathe air, your house, your quote unquote, your woman, the beings you take care of. And so you have to know clearly what your claim is. So
what would be our claim in this case?
It does no use
how do we
to get
apply it?
around a bunch of other people complaining to go and complain to other people who are just administering these things for other complainants.
Timmy,
how do we go in with the claim, Timmy? What would our claim look like?
Regarding what?
The government, the shit we've been talking about. You say don't go in there whining and complaining, go in there with
in which
claim,
matter?
yeah?
Which matter specifically?
Shit, pick one and teach me.
We want an example.
Here's what we're seeing. Well, I don't want to overanalyze.
Yeah,
this is an opportunity to come to understandings. In the context of speaking to the people, to the bosses of the enforcers, it's going in with just a complaint is nonsense. That's what customer service is. Go file a fucking complaint.
Right.
But what I believe the conversations locally are, hey guys, seriously, it's time for us to stop fighting one another, start treating each other with respect. The people in the local government have connections. We can recognize, we cannot accept the problem. At the local level, a lot of people will say, well, this problem's greater than us, the homeless issue and all this stuff. The problem's greater than us. No, you're part of the problem. You're part of the solution. You're already elected into the system. You have connections that I don't. So what are you going to do to work with us to bring forth a better world for everyone?
See, Jack, part of the presumption is that this system or these people are compelled inherently to want any of that. I don't think that you're giving enough credence to the idea that many of us are oriented in one direction, and the majority of these folks have thrown in with an idea of self-service. They're interested in themselves, their families.
That's the problem.
Don't they get 1,000?
Right, so you're going to have to give them. You're going to have to bring them an example of a life and a lifestyle that's going to be compelling enough for them to take on an opportunity.
Paul, if you bring specificities to this disagreement, this hypothetical,
all right, Jack, you got it all.
Well, hey, can I propose a question, Jack?
Please.
I really think it's a good one that will be intriguing as far as where this discussion is going and kind of hit the nail on the head of how we solve the problem. So if you go to this guy, and I agree with Paul, and he's not actually wanting to work with you on the level that you're at or where your framework.
Who's the guy? Who's the guy?
The sheriff, the whatever, the head official that you're going to discuss things with.
Yep.
So then the question becomes,
I'm there with a group after being invited and arranged. He's not blind.
He's not entertaining your ideas, or if he is, he's patronizing you. It's not real.
That's
he's not going to do anything. You've had 20 conversations. He keeps giving you the yes, the nod, and then nothing happens, right?
That's normally what it is. When they're at that level, they are charming as fuck. They'll promise you the world and don't deliver.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dick.
So the question is, then even at a local level, is voting the way to solve that? And if not, what is the other way that you change that dynamic so you have someone in there that actually, and I hate to use the word represents you, and maybe this sounds naive what I'm asking, but I'm just saying, what is the other way that we do this where we change that vision? Even if it's just that we want less government, well, you want someone who thinks less government in that position, right? As a sheriff, at least.
We want people in all positions with the heart of service.
He's asking, how do you get them in there?
How do you get them in there? Is it your elders of your community? Is it?
Hey, can we just get past all this, Jack? Where are we going to meet, bro? We're all flying to Spokane. We're going to meet up with Jack. Jack has the idea what we're going to do. We're going to follow him implicitly, and it's going to be better. So let's just stop talking, because he doesn't want any other ideas other than what he has, and I'm willing to go with him and support him. So when are we meeting on Spokane? Everyone's going to put up or shut up now, all of Jack's friends. We're going to meet on Spokane. We're going to go with Jack to the UN or wherever else. And we, probably meaning me, because I'm probably going to be the one pushed to the front when the time comes to do the speaking. We are going to speak to the UN and whoever else Jack wants to. Is everyone ready for that? Are you down for it?
I got your back, Paul. I'll push you right through the drawer.
I'm sure you will. I'll have no problem with helping
want
out
Paul
here.
representing me. Sorry.
No one's got to go anywhere. No one's got to fly anywhere or do anything.
Well, Jack, you got beer. I'm coming.
I don't.
Damn it.
So
I saw this other live stream with beer on it.
Well, I mean,
The man Timothy said something. He offered a solution. He said,
let me, rather than just ridicule, and I know that's Paul's doing, is patronizing and continuing.
No, I'm saying I just want to do it now. Let's just do it. We've watched for a year. Everyone sit on these panels and yap.
Okay.
Do little to nothing apparently to change many of them. So if we're all united and going to support Jack, then let's just do it already.
Okay, if we can agree to the conclusion I've come to is that when people stop lying, when they humble themselves to the truth and the time that we spend together, we can get along just fine.
but
And
that's
since I
how
know
you get
that's
niggas
true,
to stop lying.
well, we stop enabling lies. We confront liars when lies are spoken. And I've been trying, and
what if the people telling the lies don't know that they're lying?
That's what I've been facing with you, Paul.
That's what I thought I was experiencing with you. It's very coincidental.
Well,
is it safe to say that everybody experiences it with everybody?
We can discuss facts to know who is accurate and who is right. And we don't even have to go through this nonsense egoic competition of who's better, who's done more. We can focus on the future. If we recognize we can work together, we could.
You say we could work together, but I just watched the last 40 minutes. As soon as the conversation is directed away from you for longer than a few seconds, you start motioning, showing body language, piping up and cutting people off to redirect it back to you. So we were all working together, and you seem to be the odd one out, even with me, the most abrasive gorilla here, taking a back position at times.
Hey, Paul, right now, do you care that your description is not accurate? Do you care about what is true? Or are you just, that's your conclusion?
Yes, I do.
Well, I felt that, Jack.
Okay.
I have to bring it back to you when I see you getting a little antsy.
Well, how about, rather than place this fucking egoic trip and find criticisms of Jack, how about recognize that I do come on here with a different purpose than what Paul does, and you, Jesse.
We're all doing amazing. We're just wanting to either listen to the ideas.
Jesse, I can't
Jack.
finish. This is one of my frustrations with you too, brother, is you think this is, you show the same interruptions and just ignoring me. And I'm patient.
Yeah, Jesse doesn't do that. It's quite the opposite.
Something, Jack, that
he doesn't do that.
I agreed with.
Well, I've actually
Jesse doesn't interrupt people and do any of that.
I've been so you're saying that once again you want to gaslight me and tell me
we're not doing anything. We're being your friend and we care about you, so we want
how
that to flow.
about you let me get to the point?
Please, can I say something?
I'd like to get to the point. Okay. You want to offer me criticism without asking, hey, Jack, you want to offer criticisms after ignoring my explanations. Okay. I simply asked, hey, can we get back to the topic? Not me. You're projecting, Paul.
No, we were all
it,
discussing
Jack.
the
I didn't
topic
hear it,
amongst
Jack.
ourselves, and getting
I
back to the
didn't hear
topic
it.
is code
And
for
what,
you
from
every
what I
time.
heard is that you actually didn't listen to somebody's idea. So Paul came in. If you don't want to listen to the ideas, let's just meet up with you and.
Oh,
Wow.
Right, and now you're treating him the way you treated me. You have no.
oh, I'll be
God
next.
damn it, Timmy! You better shut up.
Give me a
Woosah,
give me a
one
second.
breathe.
Grab
Okay,
your
Jack,
patience.
in this,
Hey, I'm actually no,
idealistic
please.
world of yours, Jack, where
That's how
everyone
you treated me the
follows
last time I was here, Jack, and I decided not to come.
Bye, Dick.
You
I'm
wanna
gonna
follow
win this
your
round of
buddy?
Talcott again.
I'm gonna lose this round. I think. Be patient though. This is worth hearing, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be
You're just
next.
gonna kick
I'm
us all.
actually
Just kick us
patient.
all
We
out,
just-
Jack.
hear
Just
what
make it
Tara
you.
was
Why is it a
saying.
panel?
Guys,
Just kick everybody
excuse
out.
me.
Just
Give me a second,
just kick everybody out.
please.
Can you
Fuck
show
it,
some
Jack. Why are
respect
we
for
here?
those around you, or you want to continue the childish behavior of the others?
Before all of this nonsense started, we were talking about truth. We were saying that I said, how do you make a motherfucker be truthful? How do you make a motherfucker, whatever my comment
Get him
was.
drunk.
And what I didn't get to say, because I was cut off, I was going to say, when a person tries to tell the truth of what they think the truth is, you can pay a high price. And you just showed that, especially with Jess. It was just trying to give you proof. Truth is their version. When you try to get, that's why truth is going to be hard to find. People don't want to hear that shit. It won't be as easy as you say or as you think, in my opinion.
Hey, Joe, you think I haven't experienced resistance? You
No,
think
I wouldn't think nothing weird
I
like that.
haven't been experiencing this? I know full fucking well the way people react to what is true.
You know how you react to it?
And I've actually, what I've been trying to point out, see, you guys are a bunch of, I don't mean to disrespect, but I
Sure
am
you do.
sick and tired of the disrespect that's continually thrown my way. I'm trying to offer orderly conversations regarding the topic of the future, and we drifted off into these memories and past engagements and then opinions of what other people in costumes can and cannot do. That is not the topic of the future that I want to discuss.
I think you're misinterpreting disrespect for disagreement.
No, okay. You want it to be considered as disagreement and minimize the disrespect. So what about the complete ignorance and lack of attention for my purpose? My purpose is not like Paul's, just to open it up for anyone to come and be an asshat and hang out all day. That's clearly not why I do this.
You can pull it back on the topic you want. That's fine. But not all of that disagreement was disrespect. I'm just saying that. That's all I'm doing is pointing that out.
Flo,
The only person I
did
disrespect is
that.
Scott.
Flo, okay. Flo, I did that. I brought it back to the topic. I tried to bring it back to the topic, and I thought I was actually pretty kind, and I thought I was pretty patient, considering the number of times I'm sitting here just being ignored and spoken over.
All right, let's do the topic.
So, well, here, I brought it back to the topic, and then I was insulted because I brought it back to the topic. The claim was made that I'm in my feelers because people aren't paying attention to me. No, what I'm seeing is the panel turn into another Paul's panel.
You're imagining past disagreements. How about
Jimmy's trying to get kicked and he's sucking at it.
No, I can see what
Let's
Jack
just go back.
said.
Let's go to his topic.
The entire energy of this panel completely changed when Paul and his other people came up. The whole dynamic shifted.
Yep.
Okay. We
And
were
let's
on a
not be-
completely
thank you.
different topic and completely moved to this. Like, I haven't even participated since Paul's been up here because the topic has shifted. So I see what Jack is saying. And I was on Paul's show yesterday. And he wanted to dominate the conversation so much to the point that I couldn't even finish a thought. So granted, Jack is sort of doing a little bit of the same thing right now.
Jack
but
brings
they're
them up,
both-
right? Anything
they're
that
both
happens,
doing the
Jack
same
says,
shit.
Jack knows the energy's gonna change. He brings them up. He can't blame us for it when it happens. He did that shit.
I'm not blaming you, Joe.
Not
were
you. I
before
say
that.
he can't blame us and talk about how we went astray.
Joe.
You know what happens when them niggas come up here.
Joe, you're sitting here right in front of me making excuses and accusing me of blaming you. Are you playing a victim? I mean, come on now. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm pointing out the facts. And thank you, Sarah. The energy did change. Yes, I am responsible, Joe.
Right.
Don't paint this bullshit on me. You keep doing this.
I said you
I
are.
am
You said you are.
responsible. I'm not responsible for the I'm not responsible for the perceptions. None of us are completely responsible for the perceptions or opinions of others. Here's what I've learned for myself to bring it back to something hopefully helpful.
Let's do that.
I am as you say I am. Period. In your experience, how you say I am is how I am in your life. Doesn't matter if it's true or not.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So I see how people treat me, and it's pretty much how they describe me, which is pretty insulting. Considering the things I've said, the things I've actually done in my life that aren't, really considered or part of this picture here. Where we're at, brothers and sisters, I'm a man just like everyone else, but I claim that God has blessed me with a different education than many others. I'm not claiming superiority I'm not diminished.
I got a little whiff of it just then. I'm just saying, I'm on a high alert here. I got a little whiff of it, bro.
Well, where I am, Joe, honestly, I am present because where I am right now, God is with me. God is with all of you. And I started this early in the stream. I don't know who caught what, but a quote I learned from someone else. The knowledge that one is speaking to sacred beings is a sign of sanity. To be able to hold a caring, attentive conversation with people is a sign of sanity. And you know what? If you give me just a second here, Mr. Unslaved actually says it perfectly. Let me see. Personality disorder.
Hey, Sarah, I didn't mean to come off harsh if I did.
No,
I
you're
like
good.
you.
You're good.
All right.
It's a give and take. It's a back and forth. It's not that difficult. How do you ascertain someone has personality disorder? Step one, they can't have a functional conversation and know when to shut up or when to speak. Simple. Up to you.
He knows it, and that's absolutely true. I've been trying to have a functional conversation with that man since the day we met, and I've been pretty persistent. I've tried a lot of different ways, but brothers and sisters, I am one with who I am. I have no guilt and worries and shame. And if I was the way that many want to describe me, shouldn't I be like a little confused and maybe worried about stuff?
So, Jack, since we're adults here and we don't fucking run from things, I'd like to get this. I don't want to be feeling like I'm talking to my ex-girlfriend and every time I approach a certain topic, it's off you can't do it. It's off limits. You are a fan of the truth. You say it all the time. You just said it. I was like, that's difficult to get motherfuckers to be truthful, blah, blah, blah. You just said something really wise. My version of you is my version of you. If it doesn't line up with yours, it doesn't mean I'm being dishonest. I'm giving you my truth. And it can get you thrown in the basement for trying to proliferate truth. You understand what I'm saying? You're the truth guy. I want you to understand how hard it's going to be. We can't get past the truth guy with truth. This is a tall task you're asking.
I'm perfectly humble with the truth, but truth should have relevance to the time, to the experience. What we're dealing with here, we got Paul in the back, and when you said how you get put in the basement for bringing up the truth, you know, he's in the basement. He's in the back.
He got flags and sitting
Jack,
back
is it
there.
all right
I
if I
bet you,
say
Jack,
something
over
here?
here, over here.
Please, Sarah.
Okay. I understand, I think, better than most of these men how you speak. And it is more of an intuitive language that is difficult for them because they want to
I
see
like it,
grounded in
Sarah.
reality.
I
Okay?
like it a lot.
I love your idealistic views. Okay. I also like Paul's idea where we have total libertarianism, where we basically live our lives as we choose. The both idealistic, because
Right on, girl.
neither one is actually achievable. Not everyone can regulate themselves to be a good human being. They truly
Right.
need someone to
not?
define rules and laws.
Why not?
Because
See,
some of
kill
them,
it, let
they
him, let
just
him
don't.
cook.
They just don't get it. Some people really do need you to tell them where the boundaries are. Not everyone, but
So you're
some. That's just
economic
the
overall
reality.
slave them all
We're in
up,
agreement.
right?
We're
And
in
then there's
agreement.
others
That's,
that have very different boundaries. And what is a good person for them is a horrible human being for another. So how do we come to the reconciliation of what is considered a good human being? Where are those boundaries?
I can answer that.
Good one,
And
sir.
please, I don't dismiss the need, the reality that there order can be brought by external forces, that there are people that need a little extra attention, a little extra support, a little extra correction.
Appears to be the masses. I hate to say
It
that.
appears to be that the things are so upside down that the masses are so confused by the bullshit that they're handed every day that to turn it around is almost impossible, as she says. So what we have is a failure to communicate from the top down reality. So Jack wants to change secrets, but these assholes have too much to hide. They know their fucking necks will be on the chopping block as soon as they're outed.
So what?
Why is it so?
Who
Why is it so
cares what
complicated that
they fear?
Because
why can't each of us just manage our own lives? Like, why is it any, like, besides women and children that are defenseless, besides those specific categories, why is it
Fear.
any of your business to give a fuck about what anybody else does? Why can't you guys just
It's
manage?
not it's not about what you do to yourself. It's how do you treat others. You only have rules to protect yourself from others, not to protect yourself from yourself. You can do whatever the fuck you want as long as you don't harm me or anyone else.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
How does that relate to the panel when we're in mid conversation and Jack catches emotions and starts using what would be the metaversal weapons of war and throwing people out?
Back to your imaginations. You're going to take over, deflect from the conversation.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know I couldn't
bring
speak.
in an insult. This is unnecessary, unhealthy. And Timmy, all these fucking imagined, you create these disagreements because you come with a false presumption. No one is saying.
No, Timmy is capable of figuring out how to put a boundary up. Where are the lines of what's right and wrong? He's able to regulate himself, make choices for himself, but not everyone is really good at doing that. A lot of people suck at it.
Yep.
If they knew what that meant, it'd be a little easier for them. I mean, 101, everything's backwards and upside down. If you gave people a fucking chance and told them what civics was all about, then they'd understand how they're getting fucked.
If
Everyone's ethics are not ethics. Everyone's morals are different.
If the truth was known, if we were not continually sacrificing ourselves from the truth, the reality of today is we have connections. I've tried my path and I'm still pursuing my ways to get there. But the solution is humanity stops intentionally profiting from wars. Simple as that.
That's
The
the truth.
wars against other nations, the wars on drugs, the wars on the border, the wars on everything. It's a war on sanity that has been imagined by people in authority, right? Fellow people like us who are just on a different path of time, path of life, same time. We can change this world. So no one has to come to Spokane to join me, but from wherever you are, if you can think of a way, if we wanted a world where the truth was not corrupted, if we wanted a world without secrets, who might be willing to help?
Timmy, I thought offered some help when he said, you go in there complaining, or do you go in there with a claim of lost property, injury, harm? I thought that was a good angle to pursue.
Yes. And here, the loss, injury, and harm, the first casualty of war is the truth. The rest are mostly civilians, right? We've got a lot of civilians dying, a lot of soldiers dying, a lot of employees dying unnecessarily. We've got waste. We've got waste.
You guys love to victimize. You're victimizing everyone. You and Sarah just
Timmy, I'm
victimize
honest.
the whole earth.
I'm sorry if you're triggered. I'm sorry if you're triggered by the reality of the world you want to pretend doesn't exist.
Okay.
There's a lot of suffering out there, Timmy. And
Suffering
I know
is
it's easy to become
Look the word
heartless.
up.
And me and my family are okay, so screw everyone else. They didn't follow the rules I did, right, Timmy? That's what you like to say.
I just want to jump in there. If
He's
he's saying suffering self-inflicted, did the people of East Palestine inflict that on themselves? That's suffering.
Suffering is a willful.
That's something that needs to end too. This crap in Israel and Palestine. This is the people in the best place to end a conflict are those not involved. We are not actively involved in the conflicts between the nations and the states, but we are in the best place to bring the message and to bring the demand.
You have people.
The end of war.
You're in the military. What are you talking about?
Yes, Timmy. Duh, dumbass. I did,
directly
responsible. I know how corrupt it is. Stupid. What you don't? You haven't heard a word I've said. You haven't heard a word that's been talked about, dude.
Everybody that went along. Can I retort what you said, or no? You're just gonna keep.
No, please.
Why is Timmy allowed to just fucking interrupt this whole broadcast, interrupt you, Jack? What the fuck's going on, man?
It's usually Joe that gets away with that.
Why are there certain special boys here get to do whatever the fuck they want while the rest of us have to stay silent?
Well, I blow him.
Paul, I would actually like to hear what Timmy says.
the
He's
least
squirming
I
in his seat and hasn't been able to complete his thought. I would actually.
I'm sure you'd like to hear what anyone has to say other than me.
And yours is fucking loud.
I'm sure you'd like to hear what anyone else has to say other than me. I wonder why.
Yeah, because you're kind of a dick. Timmy, please speak.
Right, and you can't keep or have a man in your life. I wonder why. Because you're kind of a cunt.
Oh,
Dick and a cunt are perfect for each other if they can make it work.
I can be a cunt. I don't give a fuck. Timmy,
Right, that's your default position. It's not can be.
I thought see you
you
next
know me
week.
so well, Paul. Timmy, please speak.
You're an angry, cunty woman. It's all over you. Are you kidding?
Empty now.
I don't want to speak when you tell me to speak. Like, stop doing that. Like, it's weird.
I'm trying to help you out. My bad.
Tell me
Right, you tried to mama him and he didn't appreciate it either. Maybe one of these days you'll figure out what a man is, sweetie.
Oh my
God.
I don't need you to tell me when I can speak or not speak here or anywhere else. I appreciate the
I said I wanted to hear what you had to say. I wasn't telling you to speak.
Great.
I wanted
you said
to hear
now
your
you can
thoughts.
speak. Your
No, I did
masculinity
not.
is showing.
Yeah, I have masculinity. I also have femininity. It's called being a well-rounded human being. Holy fuck.
You won't find that here.
I know.
Hey, I stepped away and I heard the profane and insulting accusations being made by Paul. I'm sorry I wasn't present to clean that up sooner. This is just absolute nonsense. And did Timmy ever answer?
He didn't get an opportunity.
No, he didn't speak. He got butthurt over me telling him that I wanted to hear his thoughts.
I know. Do you have any interest in
Yeah,
hearing?
and I
him
did hear you
your
say
thoughts?
speak now, so and so. You was
No, it
trying
wasn't
to,
meant to be in order, if that's what I
Right.
actually said.
Yeah,
I
it was
just wanted
clear.
to hear his thoughts, and Paul wouldn't ever shut up. And Paul's mic is extremely
Actually-
loud, and Timmy's is quiet.
Here, actually, I'm going to offer Paul the opportunity to be accountable for his words and responsible for the unnecessary attacks. Can you see that, Paul? Is that something you can see? Do you have any accountability for unnecessary insults and attacks?
Are you speaking to me?
I am speaking to you, Paul. Do you have
What
any
was my
accountability or
unnecessary insult and
responsibility?
attack? You will keep equating.
I take that as a no. So,
He was
Yeah.
trying to face that. I don't think he knows what he did. Why don't you kind of explain that to him, Jack?
he has created habits of denial, Scott. I've said this and explained it before, but hey, it's a new day. Paul is exhibiting severe patterns of denial. He has within himself, around him, what is clearly an echo chamber of people that are feeding off each other's anger, feeding off each other's opinions. It's gossip and blame. It's egoic nonsense that, brothers and sisters, if we want to grow up, let's grow up. Let's learn how to communicate with each other like adults.
That's
It's
nothing
not that
new.
hard.
That's nothing new around him, is it? Or around you and him together?
No, he's been like that since before I met him. I actually think he's improved. And for credit, I acknowledge Paul has been in pretty decent. His energy has been improved today than it has in the past, but it's still not acceptable for the life I want to live.
He sounds like he's doing better, but there's momentary lapse of reason.
Yep. And the topic why he's being addressed right now is because he was brought up after offering inappropriate language and insults and attacks at a young lady here. And
she identifies
to be honest, I don't really care what he thinks of me. His opinion does not matter. I call myself a cunt sometimes because I can be a cunt. But sometimes you gotta be to live in this fucking world. Okay?
Respect. I
so
understand.
let's just move on. I don't need to rehash it. I'm okay. If you want to keep moving on, let's move on.
This would be much better if Sarah's wearing her dominatrix outfit.
Fucking A, let's do that.
My point was, this was an opportunity for Paul to just simply be humble to the fact he was inappropriate, to recognize his behavior, his unnecessary attacks, unhelpful behavior, and rather than acknowledge that, he immediately started off on his excuses, his false narratives. And
remember a couple of days ago when I accused you both of having frame conflict?
Possibly. I think so. I don't remember the context, but
where did O'Shea come from? And where did Snafu sneak off to? We still got to go over how he's working for Marfugal. Not Marfugal, the other guy.
He obfuscated earlier. You were talking about stuff going this and that, and him being a part of promoting Marfugal, and then he goes, "Oh wait, let's get back to getting together." And
right. He totally did misdirection on everybody, and I'm just like, well, there he goes.
Yeah, it's like, wow, that was slick of him. I mean, he's like, "What are we getting along with everything?"
Hey, can we? Sorry to interrupt, but let's. I mean, if you talk in kind of the mythical, a little fantastical, in the idea of spiritual influences on us, when we don't have a connection to God, it would make sense that things can come in and take control of us. Now, the ideas like this, I know that's not something I would have ever talked about or thought of years ago. But if people don't know,
Jack,
Well-
that's the first estate. If you want to know God, you got to be able to look in the mirror at yourself. You really got to look at yourself. Okay.
Okay, Lucifer.
Jack, bring Paul back up.
Well, Flo.
For what, Brian?
I was just being tongue in cheek, mostly because you're annoying as fuck to me, and since like
I
the
love
last
you,
week.
my friend. I'm sorry I made you feel that way, Lucifer.
Well,
dark.
Did you just rubber glue me?
I don't know. I guess that's what you call it in this world.
Here, the patterns of this world. I mentioned it early in the stream, but the way we've been brought up, many people are conditioned to find their value outside of
Jack, I don't mean to interrupt, but can I just say one thing? Can you bring Paul back up, please?
I asked you for why. What
Because
value?
when I
did
got
we-
here, you asked him a question, then he was answering in a reasonable manner, and then he kicked him because the answer wasn't how you.
And we'll have the Brady Bunch block.
He kicked him when he was calling the girl a cunt.
Right.
Well, she called herself one, to be fair as well.
And Brian, he was not answering the question. He was clearly.
I'm sorry. You're right. He brought him back up. I'm sorry. You're right.
So, do you actually
clearly what? You didn't even finish your sentence.
Tell you what, Brian. Tell you what. Now you're in the hot seat. What do you? I'm open. I'm reasonable. Do you have any belief? Do you have any faith that Paul will come up and actually show humility and acknowledge his unnecessary attack?
No chance. If he do
Yes,
it,
I
it'll
do.
be fake.
You do
Yes, I
think
do.
so? Will you
Yes.
encourage him to do so?
Right?
Yes.
This is good. Let's do it.
All right. Jack's game.
Paul, can you acknowledge anything with the words you've authored?
Yeah, could
here?
I also just point something out real quick? See, we live in a world where women are always deferred to and things are glossed over, and men take to get a rap. They have to take a rap, right? Of being a certain way. So nobody noticed how she was the first person who called me a name. She called me
I
a
don't
dick.
care. I don't care.
Right. No one cares that she was the first person to call me a
I
name.
hold
They
you
glossed
to a
right over
higher-
that and
I
focused
hold
on
you
my
to a
response.
higher standard because you are already on a short leash with me, Paulie boy. See, you don't fucking recognize the facts. So, Brian, you gambled wrong, buddy.
Make
Yeah,
Brian
but-
drink pee.
What?
Make him drink pee on camera to stay on stage.
Stay pee or drink pee or leave.
He does
No,
it
but
anyways.
seriously. Yeah, well, so do meth addicts. They drink pee because the meth doesn't like.
No,
you know.
they don't. That's the funny thing is like not one of them I've ever
Well, no, the
seen
people
do
that eat it do. I think the people that eat it, they because it'll go through your body and nothing will happen to it. It'll just be the same or better, and then you drink it. Whatever.
What is
But
this
anyway,
weird shit about drinking pee?
Yeah,
It's first time
I
I'm
don't
hearing
know
that. Chris.
why the conversation.
Not for
devolved
nothing. You're gonna
into
be-
flow state. See, he's undercover. Flow state, urine, get it? Flow. Anyways,
How
I'm gonna
about
get
this?
it.
We're coming up at 3 hours. I just noticed how lengthy this has become.
It's been
I'm
interesting.
appreciating the
I'm taking over
conversation.
to Flo's house.
We can take it over to
no,
Flo's
dude. What
house.
I just observed was Paul was answering again, and you freaked the fuck out. Is no one else seeing this? He was answering reasonably again. That's what I just
Brian,
witnessed. Did I miss something?
Hey,
I
Brian.
haven't seen you drink pee yet,
you-
Brian.
If that's how you choose to see it, then you'll choose to see Paul as a victim.
How about
And
you
you'll go ahead and continue to blame me. But Brian, you and Paul are in denial. Okay, I know you and Timmy and many of the others. You guys are all up Paulie's ass, and he thinks he does nothing wrong. Today, I called him out on something I view as inappropriate that I simply asked that he acknowledge, and you see the arrogance. I said, hey, I'll get to you guys for your final words if I may, but I forgot. Pride and distrust. Pride and distrust. Those two things keep human beings from communicating properly.
Pride goes before the fall.
Well, I've been and I continue to encourage Paul. He's probably not hearing me because he's talking, but I continue to encourage Paul to look at his pride at his false arrogance. It's unhealthy the way he, I don't know. I know, brothers and sisters, peace is right now. It's found in the stillness that's within us, and we can have the self-control not to argue with each other, not to fight with each other, but we can, to do that, we've got to find within us the reasons to want to understand. That's what I think.
Jack, you know what I've noticed? The people that have the biggest egos are the ones that edge God out the most.
Ask
I
him
agree.
out. That what?
I agree. The ones who edge God out the most have the biggest ego.
Oh, edge him out.
Yeah, God.
That might be the
Have you heard of him, Joe?
definition. That might be the definition. Is that my stalker girlfriend? Oh my God. Yes,
no, just before I came up on panel, I was pointing out how you're cutting everybody off and laughing again.
Yeah, I know. You love me so much.
No,
man.
you're a
I know
controlled
what that
operative.
shit's
As
about.
your city crumbles, you control and laugh over everybody else's
Yes,
speech.
yes. You love
okay.
me. I get it.
All right.
Go watch
I
my
love you
vids,
guys.
nigga.
Can't wait to see you over on Flow State, Joe State.
If
Jack,
Flow open
have a
up, I'll
good
certainly be
evening.
over there just to give you an
Everybody
opportunity
else,
to make an
thanks
ass
for
of
your time.
yourself. Yeah.
The panels go way back.
Thank you, Smith, for joining. Scott,
Peace,
thank
brother.
you, brother. I appreciate it. Joe,
Easy, Pepper.
thank you, my friend. You guys were pretty patient. Flo, I'm going to let Sarah have the last today.
I'm fine with
I'm
that.
bad at this. No, I'm bad
No,
at that.
it's all you.
I never know what to fucking say at this shit.
Okay, well, while I'm doing this, go put on your leather and your boots, and then you can have it. I don't have anything to say. I guess I think that everybody's wrong. No, I was paying more attention to the chat towards the end here than to the usual squabble. I do think that and Snaps, I know that you're listening because you always are. We got to figure out this thing that you're doing and why you keep marketing for all the people that you claim to hate so aggressively. But I did just drop the link. I'll go live in a second here after this is done. Y'all are welcome. It's called Drinking Games with O'Shea. Hopefully O'Shea is ready to come drink his urine publicly. Since he does it privately already, he might as well make good content out of it. Thanks for having me on. Adios.
Thank you, Flo. God bless you, brother. Roman, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
What did you think? Thank you for joining. I think today was the first.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
What are your thoughts after this experience?
I think, in this circle, we all know about conspiracies, and I think what is really, it's my opinion, but I think we all, not you, but many of us, we fear the Freemasons, that supposedly controls many things, and we search for excuses, I rather don't do that, and because do you know what a targeted individual is?
I've heard of, yes.
I mean, you don't have to believe me, but I am one, yeah.
Do you know how to defend yourself?
Yeah, with God, I think. God fights my battles, I think.
Yeah,
I heard,
I mean, that's true.
Sarah, I heard little bits and pieces of some of your story when you were on Paul's. Sounds like you've had your experience in that reign as well.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. I have an actual clearings and protection to protect you from like technology shit if you want that, Roman.
Do you talk about these things on your channel? I haven't had a chance yet to go investigate your stuff, but
Well, I have two channels. The one that's mindfucked is more related to psychology, but I do get into deciphering the Bible a little bit. But it's my twin flame channel that I talk more about spiritual warfare, because that's the targeted shit happened when that man came into my life. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, I'm curious. Hopefully I'll learn more about your what you're doing. I saw the psychology channel, and that intrigued me as well. You're a young lady, obviously.
Not as young as I look.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a lot older than I look.
Okay. Well, Roman, without details, and even with details, I may not know exactly what you're dealing with, but I encourage you, have faith, and it sounds like that's where you've gone. What's that?
No worries. I mean, I think everyone is a bit of under surveillance, but I experienced much, and I know that I am really under surveillance, but I'm still alive. It's about this, next year it's about 10 years that I experienced this, but they are doing nothing, just psychological games, and I think they know that. I don't know what to think, but yeah.
Roman, I put a link in the private chat for you if you want to look at it. That might help you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, we're going over 3 hours now, Roman, so I'm probably going to wrap this up. Thank you for joining. Anything parting?
No, thank you for having me.
All right. Hey, God bless. We will see you again. Sarah, we do still have Paul in the back.
Okay.
Ooh, she loves that power. You guys love that power. Look at you. You're beaming with that power over the most powerful man in the room. You guys get fake online power. Look at you. You're beaming. She never even took responsibility for how she called me a dick. She just let you all white knight for her. How I called her a cunt. You're all so easy and predictable. That's how she fucks you all and take all your shit and then use you. You guys are so predictable.
I'm sorry.
You guys are so predictable in your dysfunction. Just keep it up. Keep trying to play it off. We all believe you, spiritual empaths. We believe you.
Did you see her example? She offered you an example.
You guys are like transparent to someone like me. Don't you get it?
No, this is the thing. You're actually kind of
maybe you all don't see your own dysfunction, but I see it clearly. I think you know it, but you just don't want to cop to it. How dysfunctional you all are. You want to make everyone think you're okay and in a power position, but you're severely dysfunctional. Both of your lives mirror it. You're both equally dysfunctional in yourselves and in your relationships. You're in sick, twisted life and lifestyle. So just keep duping delight, smirking and laughing while you cling to power, while not taking accountability for your responsibility and lack of it. Just keep doing it. We're all buying it. Look, another goofy bitch in chat asked for her link. She's happy. She's got her validation power fix for the day.
Let's come into the present. Remember, you were confident in that room. Remember that?
You threw everyone out who didn't agree with you. You already showed yourself again, like you have for a year and a half straight. You're transparent. Just keep going. Go on with your bullshit. Why even pretend to interact with me? You don't care. Just go on with your bullshit broadcast. Throw me out. Tell everyone you love them. Love bomb them after you've been abusive. And then move on with your bullshit day. With no one else in your life who cares and loves you. This woman has no one in her life on the ground. You have no one in your life on the ground. You're both meant for each other. Enjoy.
Paul. Please, Sarah, were you saying, did you have something?
He's just in fight or flight.
I think I'll be leaving now. Enjoy each other. You're fit for each other. Goodbye.
Paul.
Well, it's not wrong. I am your shadow. You're my shadow. You're an ENFP. I'm an INFJ. We do have that there, but he's also an ESTP, which is my animus, and an INFJ is his anima. So he's terrified of the feminine side. Okay. So he's trapped in his shadow, which is an ISTJ, and he's in constant fight or flight mode, and he is absolutely afraid of his feelings and anything feminine. And for him to go into his subconscious or his soul, his anima, is going to require him to face his fears of of the future. Honestly, he gets terrified. And from my understanding, most ESTPs are afraid of dying. They are terrified of it, and they are constantly living in a state of survival mode. And every time they experienced feelings or emotions, it hits their trickster function. So then they make poor fight or flight decisions, and they just create even more chaos in their life because all they are seeing for the future is doom and gloom. And the man, unfortunately, he said his mother abandoned him when he was young, so he doesn't have that feminine side inside of him, and he desperately needs that inner boy, that little child that never got that love, to be loved. And, you know,
That's
he's
what
not
I
going to let
see.
me love him. We're already
Well,
combative.
here's Sarah. Without communicating, I did kind of put you on the spot there.
It's okay.
I believe that is why Paul and my path crossed. I
Well,
understand him, and I honestly I do feel a love for him, and I know he has a love for me too. He's been hurt.
And he's not defensive. He truly does love people. He's just
I
always
know.
on the defense and
He's
in
been
fight or
hurt.
flight mode. Yeah, he's always in fight mode.
It's our society. There are many, not just men, but women too, in this fight or flight mode where they're just,
Yeah,
oh,
because they've
you
all
know,
been hurt. They don't know how to deal with that pain, and it's still sitting there. So instead of dealing with it, they bury it and they go into fight or flight mode because they get triggered. So yeah, I mean, it sucks.
The good news, though, is there is help. I mean, there is a solution to that. When the right energies come together, the right communication is shared, people can have those breakthroughs. I know that. And I think Paul I've seen growth in him. And I think when he finds humility or a reason to be humble to himself,
Yeah. When he faces his fear,
he's going to
loses that
feel
pride
that.
to do it. Yeah.
He's going to feel that freedom, though. That
Mhm.
once that lifts off, oh, dude, he's going to be so much fun to be around.
He is, but he's still got to go through the hell because getting through that initial facing the fear and going through the emotions and dealing with all of that past, that's fucking hell. But you have to go all the way through it to pull it out and transmute it. Otherwise, it's still stuck there.
Sarah, you're absolutely right. But here's what, and I don't know your experience or education, but I think that's why I've been allowed to learn what I have and to experience what I have, so that when people are ready, maybe we can help them go into the darkness that they've held, and maybe help them shorten that time.
Yeah.
So that because I think we're here to help heal the world. I really do.
But we can only help someone that's wanting help. Otherwise, they're just going to pull you down. So until he actually seeks it, wants it, or even acknowledges that he needs it, us trying to help him is just going to make him dig his heels in deeper and fight harder because he's going to deny that he even has anything going on.
Yep. I spent a long time in denial myself. The difference is I don't know if I had, well, I obviously wasn't public with my behavior, and I wasn't having people call me out publicly on my behavior, but you know, praise God, we're all on these different experiences. And today, the freedom of today brings us the hope of tomorrow. So I'm going to wrap up. Anything? Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Jack. Have a good day.
Thank you as well. What a wonderful. We've had some wonderful guests here, and brothers and sisters, those of you who stay tuned. Oh, Simple Jack, bless you. Thank you, brother. I think we've had some great conversations. There are some amazing people that we've been blessed to encounter, myself I'm speaking from my perspective, and I'm very grateful for all of you who have joined in the chat, on the panel. The topic is the future. Brothers and sisters, if you can, do the work within you. Recognize your life, the entire future of you, and the past. It's all contained within the one. You don't know the future. Don't be afraid of the past. Recognize the past. It was a gift, and you made it through whatever challenges, and maybe you're in challenges right now. Trust you're going to get through it, because I think from a spiritual perspective, it makes sense. If God's going to call us to follow, he wants those who want to serve. And the best way to know what you want is to be tested. Brothers and sisters, I want a world of peace. I found one for myself. I know it may not appear that way, but within, holy cows, man, there is bliss, and the kingdom of heaven is upon us, my brothers and sisters. Bliss is in the stillness. The stillness brings the strength, the power of knowing, beyond the confusion, beyond the doubts, beyond the insecurities. When we can accept, we can know. So accept the future you want. Together we can create anything we want. I think that's true. I'll talk about that tomorrow. Brothers and sisters, thank you again to all those who joined. Till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless.